And welcome back to The Truth Hurts. I'm the host, Jake Duesenberg. It's so good to have you here. We expose corrupt politicians and the lying corporate media, and I can't do it alone. It's so good to have you, William. It's been like a month. We got Mr. Straight-Laced himself, William Beck, in office today. Kind of casual, though. I mean, usually you're a little bit more dressed up.
Well, what can I say? It's Casual Thursday.
Is that even a thing? Casual Thursday?
I'm making it a thing. Why not?
Gotcha.
I wanted to join you these last couple days, but I've been snowed in.
Yeah, I know. That's we
Literally
called you out on
snowed
air.
in. You should see my driveway. It's like a mile long.
What's the feedback I'm getting right now, Dawson? Yeah, do you hear that?
I hear it.
Is that the TV?
Keep going, I'll figure it out.
Weird. Let's go pull up the U.S. Congress. Let's not miss out on this thing. Am I going crazy? Am I not? Are you not getting that? You're hearing that feedback too, right?
No, I hear it. Is
How's he
it
not
coming
hearing
from the conference room?
It might be from the TV.
Just a little bit of fun stuff in the studio that I cannot touch.
Oh, that was George Santos.
Yep,
Did you see that?
Yep, I did. All right. That's what it was. I don't know who turned the volume on this TV. I don't think there's any benefit having that on. Got it fixed. Okay. Day 3. Last night, if you weren't watching, they adjourned till, and this is just the prayer, so we're going to skip over it. Not that we're heathens here, but we're just going to skip over this part. I think we want to catch you up, because if you weren't following last night, the U.S. Congress adjourned till 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. our time. They instantly went to the mic, the Republicans that is, and made a motion to adjourn till noon today, which is 11 a.m. Central Time. That gentleman right there. Now, he's close to the mic. Can't think of his name right now. I don't know if they're going to adjourn again. If they adjourn again, boy, did we really bet wrong on having a show right now. But we actually have some other stuff that we want to get into. Now, what is Gates doing with all the Democrats? That's interesting.
Is that Gates? I don't think that is.
That's Matt Gates. It's over there by Nadler. Interesting. There are a lot of things that could happen. So anyhow, they end up adjourning or making a motion. It almost fails because Democrats are aligned against it. They want to have the shit show. And a couple Republicans voted to not adjourn. Came down to a 216 to 214 vote. And I think what we're looking at right there is
Lauren Boebert on the end there.
Yeah, Massey up in the top. Oh, I didn't see Boebert. I got the camera in the way. Looks like they got some family or friends in there with them. Right now, it doesn't seem like a deal has been struck. So at this point, we do think either one of two things is going to happen. They're going to adjourn to a later date, which sucks for us, and they're going to still have to work things out. Or they're going to have a vote, and there's a chance the 20 who've been labeled as holdouts, I don't know why they call them holdouts, honestly, at this point, maybe pick up steam, pick up more votes. Yesterday also, Representative Buck, and this is before we got off air, after we got off air, said that he was not going to vote for McCarthy on any future ballots, and that obviously didn't happen. So let's turn the audio on here, and let's listen in.
Wish to be recognized.
Madam Clerk, I make a point of order that a quorum is not present.
Oh.
This happened yesterday. There's
The
one other...
lady makes a point of order that a quorum is not present. The chair will count for a quorum.
Now, they need a quorum to conduct business. And it's really relevant because if there's not if the number goes down by a lot, and it's Republicans that don't show up, which I can't imagine this would happen.
Right.
Then Jeffries, the Democrat, can actually become the Speaker of the House because you need a majority of the body that's there voting. Okay? Now, if you go to our spreadsheet, I don't know if we can put this into the comment section. It's on our Facebook page. You know what I'll do is I'll quickly post this on our Facebook page. That's what I'm going to do. And then you can track this. There's a little number here. You could just change the number of voting members. You'll see that it's kind of in the right side. Let me go. Vote tracker. So I'm just going to put vote tracker. So just go to our Facebook live stream. You'll see I put a comment there. And so if the number's lower than the voting members, the majority obviously drops. And right now, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats, leading in votes. He's led on every single ballot. So if he still has 212 Democrats there, he will be the Speaker of the House. Now, I can't imagine this would happen.
Right.
What I can imagine happening, William, is the conservatives that they were showing there, who have a valid issue with Kevin McCarthy and the way things are done in Washington, D.C., and we're going to get a little into this, how Fox News and a lot of conservative Inc. have gotten this thing completely wrong. They're not listening to their base of conservatives. But the McCarthy faction goes to the Democrats and cuts some deal, and the Democrats go, we're going to have a block of people not show up on our side, bringing the threshold down for McCarthy to get in. So, in other words, the Democrats don't actually vote for McCarthy. They just don't show up and vote at all. And so that would be the other way for this to happen. And that would be I would say that's the most likely course. Do you have an opinion on that?
I think that's likely, though that would put McCarthy in some very hot water in the future because, well, what are Democrats gaining from that? They got to get something pretty significant in order for them to really follow through.
There's another way to look at it. The Democrats are a little worried about what the conservatives are asking for, and so they are willing to play ball to get McCarthy in. But then once again, doesn't that expose exactly why McCarthy's a problem? Why are we even at this position where McCarthy has to concede anything to conservatives, right? Isn't that just suggest he's not conservative? Doesn't that suggest he's just going to be the status quo? If he has to concede anything, that's right there the reason he shouldn't be in. Now, it looks like that's going to take him a while to get a quorum, but what's going to be really important is what's the voting strength. So yesterday came back with a quorum as 351, which means anyone that attained 177 votes becomes the Speaker of the House. Now, we thought, oh, my God, the hit job's in. Didn't turn it. Oh, there's Santos. There's your boy.
Looking a little lost there.
Hey, before I forget, I can't miss this. So Elon Musk has finally entered the debate on the Speaker of the House. Are you familiar with this? This is so funny.
Yeah, I saw that. I think he got a little pushback from that one.
Well, now he's got a – this is so funny. He's now got a tweet. It's a poll. Elon Musk should stay out of politics, keep shooting his feet. And keep shooting his feet, winning by 58%. Elon Musk, I mean, you got to just appreciate the troll of that. I mean, like, that's the most expensive troll in history. So
What,
he writes
on Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah.
He writes, Kevin McCarthy should be speaker. This is at 4:23 this morning. And then he responds, I go, subtle, but I'm beginning to suspect opinions differ on this matter. If not McCarthy, then seriously who? And someone writes, you're going to love this, Chris Bach. George Santos should be speaker. He's a billionaire physician who's an ex-Navy SEAL that graduated top of his class from Harvard and Oxford. He has won 18 Olympic gold medals and is the guy you can trust. Here we go.
On the election of a speaker. The tellers will please come forward to their seats.
I mean, how great is that? That's a great line. And if you're not following this, Santos, Representative Santos of New York, literally lied about almost every part of his resume. Which, once again, they all lie out there. I mean, why is this shocking news, right?
Well, I heard George Santos was telling people that he is the speaker now. So
Oh.
it sounds like we have a speaker.
Wouldn't that be funny if he's speaking? Well, it'd be very accurate if a liar is speaking for the Congress. All right, once again, so they're going to tell us what the voting strength is. Now, the voting strength can change, right? Yesterday what happened is the voting strength was at 351 when they said there was a quorum. So, first of all, that just means there needs to be a majority. So, quorum is a majority. I think it's a majority. You know what that is in the U.S. Congress?
A majority? Like a simple majority?
I think it's a simple majority. I should probably know that. U.S. Congress quorum. I'm pretty sure it's a simple majority. Yeah, it's 218. So in other words, if essentially you can't get business done if a majority of the body doesn't want to show up. This actually came into play in the Wisconsin legislature. A lot of you guys probably remember this. This is about 10 years ago under Scott
Before
Walker.
proceeding further, the chair would like to clarify that as part of the clerk's role during the organization of the House, the clerk has the responsibility to preserve order and decorum in the chamber prior to the election of a speaker. To that end, the chair would like to remind members-elect of the following. Members-elect should address any remarks through the chair and not to other members-elect in the second person. Members-elect should refrain from engaging in personalities toward other members-elect. The chair appreciates the cooperation of members-elect
This poor woman. Can you
in
imagine?
respecting and upholding
Yeah, it definitely
order
wasn't the job
and
description
decorum
when
in
she.
the House.
Never happened
Thank you.
before.
Oh, that was a popular one.
And then they'll subsequently abuse that rule, right? Yeah. All right, they give him thumbs up.
You seen the picture of Kevin McCarthy with the
For what
Ukraine,
reason does the gentleman from Michigan
button.
rise?
Are you going now?
Do I go
Madam
now?
Clerk, I rise to nominate Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the
no.
House.
All right, so
they brought in
either-
John James to do it.
Yeah, either the Republican establishment is just fine with Groundhog's Day.
The gentleman is
We didn't get a
recognized.
number, by the way, from the quorum, did we?
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
So
There's been a lot
so
of talk
we assume it's gonna be 434
over the last few days.
votes.
1856 was the last time it took longer than the votes we're having right now to find a Speaker of the House. 133 over 2 months. Without question, the issues divide us today are much less severe than they were in 1856. In fact, there's far more that unite us than divide us, regardless of our political party or our ideology. The issues today are over a few rules and personalities, while the issues at that time were about slavery and whether the value of a man who looks like me was 60% or 100% of a human being. It was a long, drawn-out, painful process, but it needed to happen. And in the end, Nathaniel Banks won by the slimmest of margins. But you know, margins don't matter when your policies are on the right side of history. On that day, long ago, the good guys won. On that day, long ago, the abolitionists won. On that day, the people who believe in freedom and self-determination won. The leading Republican nominee won then, and the leading Republican nominee will win again today.
You know, it's an
Since
interesting
then, our nation's
comparison.
made a
The
lot of
abolitionists
progress.
would not have been the status quo back in the day, right?
My family
So he's like
was
comparing him
point.
to the abolitionists that won,
to the
and yet
floor
the
of
abolitionists were
United States
clearly
House of
the
Representatives,
outsiders.
being the first member of his
That is a
freshman
good
class
point.
to speak
Well, I'm fresh
in
out
a
of bad
series
points there,
of 5
young William.
generations. My family has gone from slave to right here since 1856.
I mean, isn't this just
My
beautiful
father and
theater? They
mother
like
born in the
perfectly planned this.
1940s
You
and
know, the speech
1950s in
tying
Jim
in.
Crow South.
Well,
And
right.
my
It's like,
dad
whose
lived
minds are
directly
they changing
across
with
the
these
street
speeches?
Yeah,
from a school
exactly.
he couldn't go to
This
'cause
is
he
just,
was black.
it's all theater.
He
Now,
started a business.
listen, I don't really want to listen to this whole speech. I think what's more important is the speech for, I guess we're assuming Donald's. We don't know. Because if we want to talk about, if we want to tie this into abolition, there's actually a black Speaker of the House candidate from the Republican side, right?
Well, we'll see. So far, the first day it was Jordan. Second day it was Donald's. Today it could be a whole new person.
It could be a whole different person, but you know, if we're gonna go the black route,
Right.
right? If we're gonna go the same thing that the left uses in identity politics, I don't care if you got a black guy introducing McCarthy. You got actually a black guy running for Speaker of the House on the Republican side. You actually have two people running. One's a Democrat. There's really no way the Democrat's getting in. So, and even if he got in somehow, and that would require Republicans not showing up and voting or doing the unspeakable and voting for him, I mean, pulling a Tony Jurgens, then really what you're doing is, you know, I mean, if he gets in somehow, the majority party is still going to control everything. If the speaker ever does something out of order, they'll rule him out of order. They have the votes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a moot point. And they can replace him, too, because they have the majority of the votes. So it's almost a moot point. It'd probably be the shortest term ever. Yes, thanks for putting that up there, Dawson. I totally forgot. Please follow us. Okay, follow us over there on Twitter. It's at action_liberty. We're going to start building a Twitter page because, I avoided Twitter like the plague for the longest time, right? But we have got to go where free speech is welcome, and Twitter is probably one of the best spots right now. Thank God for Elon Musk buying that.
I didn't even know that you had a Twitter account now.
I know, we just did
I'm
it.
gonna-
You following
I'm
it?
gonna follow
Look at that. William wasn't even following it.
Action for Liberty.
It's action_liberty.
Action.
Yeah. There's an old account that's action_ or action for liberty. We don't know who still got control of that. That's not us. Or I guess it was kind of us back in the day, but honestly, Twitter we knew this for years. Twitter was pointless. It was just a cesspool of the worst scum in politics. And it kind of still isn't to some degree. But why would we go into that awful universe of scum when anything that we had that's important and relevant was going to get censored? We knew it. We knew it on Facebook too, but a lot of our audience was already there in Facebook, and we built up the audience, and Facebook wasn't as bad as Twitter. Now, I don't know what they're clapping about. I probably should have listened to that one.
Do you want me to back up?
No.
We've been working hard for that victory, and there's much more to come.
I think if I'm kind of looking at the captions there, is they alluded to some kind of point where they've already got some victory. They got some concessions from Kevin McCarthy. It doesn't sound like they're ready to give up on this fight.
To speak for them at the highest level of government right now.
I don't know what the
every
downside
individual in this room
of these 20 conservatives not refusing to vote for McCarthy is. I don't know what it is, because honestly, you're going to get a better deal. And the fact you even have to get a deal is the point that just proves the whole point.
Well, they're at a point of no return now.
Yeah.
Like, they've already screwed themselves over if McCarthy becomes speaker.
Well, I
So
don't
it's
know.
in their best interest to keep voting no.
Well, did they screw themselves over and McCarthy becomes speaker, though? Did they? Because if they screwed themselves over, once again, doesn't that prove the point that McCarthy shouldn't be speaker? If he's vindictive, if he's going to take him off committees.
No, agreed.
Doesn't that prove the point they're
Agreed.
trying to make? Is you don't belong as Speaker of the House, because that's the old way of doing business. They've already said he's threatened to take him off committees.
Yep. And use funds against them in primaries.
And use funds against them in primaries. Exactly.
Right, so they're entrenched. They're not going anywhere.
One of the funniest Fox News talking point I've heard, because Fox News has been so wrong on all this stuff, is that these people have worked really hard, all these conservative activists really hard to get Republicans elected, and now they have to deal with this. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of those people that were working to get Republicans elected didn't want just the status quo, right?
Right.
It's just a big misread. I don't hardly ever listen to radio in general, certainly not talk radio, but when I got my truck today, my Bluetooth just didn't sync up right away, and I had AM 1280 on, and there's Mike Gallagher, and I used to listen to Mike Gallagher all the time. I like Mike Gallagher. So I hadn't listened to him for quite a while. People changed their politics in 20 years. He still seems to be the conservative linchpin that he was back 20 years ago when I listened to him on my commute for ROTC. And he says that he's like really strongly in support of these 20 conservatives. He has a poll on his page. Do you got that image ready to go, Dawson? I mean, his no, yeah, it was on the spreadsheet, exactly. Yeah, there you go. Do you support the 20 Republicans who are objecting to Kevin McCarthy as Speaker? 88% said yes. So he's like talking to all his fellow members in conservative broadcasts who, like the Sean Hannity world, are getting this completely wrong, and like, you guys got to start listening to your audience, right? Now, Mike Gallagher's probably got a very small audience compared to like a Sean Hannity, but I'm pretty certain Sean Hannity's audience also is going to be on board. These guys are getting it all wrong. And the way that I look at this, William, and we haven't had a chance to chat about this, is essentially just going to McCarthy means that we're just getting the status quo. We have a long way to go. I don't know. He said something about black nominees. I don't know what he was trying to say there.
You don't fire a guy who's winning. cycle. And when you look at the gains that Kevin McCarthy has made uphill,
Is that the best volume we
getting
have?
the gavel as
Dustin?
a minority leader in half the time, you know, the mainstream media likes to laud the leadership of Nancy Pelosi. Kevin McCarthy won the gavel back as minority leader in half the time uphill. We want to talk about people who can win.
They're cutting
Well, I'm
away
a
from his
Lions fan,
speech. That's funny.
and
There's Byron Donalds, the guy
I'm-
going up against.
yeah, that's right. Look, I'm well acquainted with snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Y'all, we need to learn how to win. We need to learn how to take a victory. And by Kevin McCarthy's leadership, he's given us victories on rules. He's given us victories on keeping costs down. He's given us victories with winning a majority back. I'm so proud to be a part of the majority-making class, and he's earned my trust. And
Yeah,
hopefully
it's so
he'll earn
interesting
your
that
trust.
the Democrats
and he's got
only have one
90%
guy,
of us in the
Aguilera, that's
conference.
ever
When is the last time
give the
anyone's had
endorsement
90%
speech
approval
for
ratings?
Jeffries.
Kevin McCarthy, you're going to see
That's a
up
good
there
point.
Well,
is over 90%
I don't
mean,
have
of
bad
yeah,
points
yeah.
there, William.
Really
Oh my
want to
gosh,
start making
fresh
Lions
out of bad
do it the
points.
right
What's
way.
that, Dawson?
Twice now.
We need a
Well, I mean,
concerted
he's
one
just-
show.
fight
Does he make the
this
joke
country
around
back.
you a lot too,
Dude,
Dawson?
constantly.
Yeah, but see, I take that as a insult. When you say good point, Jake, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't always make good points?
Every single one of you.
No, it's because I'm referencing
Well-
myself. I never make good points, so I have to bring
It's
it
a
up when
rarity.
you do.
Yeah, you gotta acknowledge them.
But Jake, if all the points you make are good,
Of the House.
then do I need to say excellent point in order to give
Yes.
you that extra?
No, 'cause
Yes,
that raises
that's
the
the new
bar.
rule.
All right,
That's the new rule, William. Excellent point. Okay.
all right, deal.
We have someone chiming in on Rumble. I am at the point where I just don't care anymore. The only thing that would please me is that Donald J. Trump would walk through the U.S. House floors and that he would receive the 218 votes.
I mean, seriously, is that not the best theater ever?
Could
And
it happen?
since Elon Musk can apparently run SpaceX, Tesla, Twitter, all at the same time, I think he could manage being the Speaker of the House too. Wouldn't that be great?
Elon Musk isn't great on everything, though. He's not a conservative.
I know, but I'm just talking about pure entertainment. Donald
it'd
Trump's
be
not good on
entertaining.
everything either.
It's true. It's true.
If we want some entertainment value, right?
Well, entertainment value, I think Trump could actually win if he was serious about it. Because imagine being a Republican in Congress and voting against Trump for being the Speaker. I mean, Kevin McCarthy would have to withdraw right away.
They don't need Trump to come there. They can nominate Donald Trump.
That's true. Hopefully they keep this one brief. They've been saying the same thing for the past 3 days now.
Yeah, I know. It's like, let's turn it up a little bit.
Madam Clerk, House Democrats are united
Not Democratic,
behind
United.
a champion of expanding and protecting the right to vote. Since the beginning of 2021, 21 state legislatures have passed 42 restrictive voting laws. Hakeem has stood up against voter suppression and the new Jim Crow era every step of the way.
That's a bold claim. Isn't it funny how Dean Phillips is sitting right behind him?
Yeah, you gotta wonder why it's going down that way.
As we begin
Right next to Steny Hoyer.
As we begin a new Congress, we need a leader who believes in strengthening democracy, who understands that to cast a vote is a sacred responsibility that should be afforded to the many, not the privilege for the select few. Hakeem understands that in order for us to become a more perfect union, we can't deny the voices of individuals in a democratic process. Madam Clerk, today we affirm our support of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and nominate.
They're starting to lose the potency of the standing ovation.
Yeah, it's so
They may as well stay standing.
I can't even watch State of Union addresses because that's all it is. It's so stupid.
Quick question.
Madam Clerk,
So they're trying to
Clerk,
put
and that's
Hakeem
why I'm
in
directed
as
by the Democratic Caucus
the Speaker of the House, but if he becomes it, there's still a Republican majority, so they're not going to be able to pass anything. Why are they so excited to get him
It would be
nominated?
a big FU to the majority party because usually you could just capture that seat. I would make the argument the Speaker of the House should be not a
What
congressman.
purpose does the
Here
gentleman
you go.
from North
But
Carolina
Pelosi
Here you go.
stripped
Let's
the.
listen.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, I rise to place in nomination the name of Byron Donalds of Florida.
Okay, they're sticking in.
The gentleman is recognized.
I want to begin by saying how much I have anticipated the gentleman from Michigan's arrival in this
And
House.
Bishop's been
Not in the
pretty
Senate,
reliable, but
not
he
in
was
the
one
old
we weren't so
staid,
certain. So
unchanging Senate, but in the House
it means
where
that
we make change.
McCarthy doesn't have the votes. If you do the math, Biggs, Boebert, Bishop,
Yesterday, we could have
Gates,
elected
and
the
Bob
first
Good.
black Speaker of the United
And I assume
States
Donalds will
House
vote
of
for himself.
Representatives.
He did yesterday.
Yeah, right there. That's 6.
Bring it. Bring it.
What are they saying?
Some showmanship.
I don't know what he said.
They got the Democrats
Hear
to
me
stand.
clearly. Hear me clearly. Had the cascade of votes begun,
Whoa.
it would have extended to every member of this body. It could begin today. Last night, I sat within feet of Mr. Donalds as the tweet of another member-elect appeared on the screen. That member-elect wrote and sent out to America
It's probably about Dan
that
Crenshaw.
Byron Donalds is a prop.
No, this is
Oh.
Cory Bush.
Yes, Bush. Yep.
I've spent a good bit of time with Mr. Donalds, especially lately.
Crenshaw was
Ain't
even
no
more
prop.
outrageous.
Who's the guy with the beard that was talking to him?
Establishment guy.
Okay.
Dan Crenshaw called basically the 20 conservatives terrorists, alluded to them being terrorists, also called them enemies.
And if he were a prop, he wouldn't be sitting where he's sitting. This is the tired, old, grotesquely racist rhetoric that we've seen far too long.
It's a good move. That's Bush. That's the lady that called Donald's a prop.
Today, a member-elect quote tweeted a Fox News story that incorrectly reported that I said that if I don't prevail on the question before the House, I will resign. That member-elect quote tweeted that incorrect story for his own political purposes.
Yeah, who was that?
After the story had been corrected and the actual statement contradicting that report had been provided. This is the old trafficking in lies from Washington that the
Yes.
American people know far too
Exactly.
well. By the way, I'm not leaving.
Seems like there's more than 5 people clapping.
Kevin
Is
McCarthy
that
released
Yeah, you just
to
saw the
public
block of
on
them. So
New Year's
once
Eve
again here,
a document
McCarthy doesn't have the votes.
entitled
Now, he could get
Restoring
momentum on
the
this,
People's
which is a
House
story, right?
and
He could also
ending
lose
business
more.
as
If
usual.
McCarthy loses more, it's got to be done.
To his great credit, Mr. McCarthy,
McCarthy
made a
has said he's
statement
not
of
expecting any
huge
change in the
significance
votes
to the
today.
country.
What are we doing
The
here?
nominal
Exactly.
leader of a major party acknowledged publicly that this institution is broken, and he committed to make change to fix it. So let me help my colleagues in the minority understand we are doing the people's business. That's what these 3 days have been about. 3 days. We are committed to make change to this institution that has lost its way. It is epitomized in the $1.7 trillion omnibus rammed through this
That seems to be the
institution
catalyst
just
of
2
this
weeks
whole
ago.
thing, too, right? I know this play had
You
been
see, ladies
moving
and
for
gentlemen,
months,
I
but
came to
that
fix
$1.7
this
trillion
broken
was like,
system.
hey, we're broke. We are completely broke.
America
We're
has
not going to
seen
change
that
anything unless we
problem
change
for
the
a very
speaker.
long time, too. The commitment to change it is new. The genesis of the prospect of changing it emerges from this moment and those since June that led at long last to the New Year's Eve statement of Mr. McCarthy and to these 3 days on the floor. America needs men and women of courage to do something new in Congress so that Congress
He's getting a lot
can
of nods from
serve
people
the
in the
American
back that
people.
have not voted his way.
And they're not going to vote his way.
And clapping for him, too. I don't know if that means anything. It might mean nothing.
The Lord said, "Behold, I do
I feel
a
like if
new
you
thing."
don't clap for something that he's saying, then
We need
that's
more
probably worse than
Byron
not clapping.
Donalds.
That's a good point.
Although
I
that's
know-
happened a lot in the last couple of days.
I know Byron. He's not a prop. He's a man of personal conviction. He arrived at his convictions through authentic and genuine life experience. People ask me, what is the end game? How does this end? The answer to this question is that this is a dynamic process. All of the decisions on this floor result from the coming together of minds, one way or another. This is the people's business. We will resolve the people's business.
Mike Gallagher to the left there, to the right of Byron Daniels, to our
And
left.
when we do,
Byron
we will
Donalds,
go to
Jesse
the mat.
Daniels, Donaldson.
for the American people.
Mike Gallagher was one of the. He's from Wisconsin, and he's one of the guys that introduced McCarthy yesterday. Seems to be trying to whip votes.
Potential candidate for Senate in 24.
Because we will be led by people of conviction,
Establishment hack.
like
Oh,
the
you got
gentleman
that
from
Twitter
Florida.
thing. That's nice.
Go to our Twitter page
Byron
over there,
Donalds.
action_liberty.
I yield back.
Weird audio. Okay. Here comes the vote, and we learned
The
real
reading clerk will
quickly.
call the roll.
So you can go to our Facebook page and look at the tracker. We just put on there the people who have voted, the 20 that have voted the one way. In fact, it's actually 21 because Victoria Spartz of Indiana or Illinois? Indiana.
I think it's Illinois.
Illinois. I think you're right. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of Mary Miller. I didn't know much about Mary Miller. She'd been hanging around Massey this whole time, and that's one of the reliable votes. I think she's from Indiana. I mean, we're not DC insiders, so we're learning a lot of new personalities here. Plus, a lot of these people are new, right?
Right.
So we're going to learn real quick. Andy Biggs will be the first vote, and obviously Bishop's a vote for Donalds. Takes 5.
Jeffries. Alford. McCarthy.
Assuming there's
Allen.
434 people voting.
McCarthy.
But-
Allred.
It doesn't look quite full in there.
Jeffries.
Yeah, but people
Eminem.
are realizing that this thing goes on forever, so they're up on the top. Yeah, you see them.
McCarthy.
I mean, even Donalds was up on the top.
Armstrong.
So we're going to learn by the time we're through
McCarthy.
C's if McCarthy's got it or not. It sounds like McCarthy does
Arrington.
not have it. So the big story will be,
McCarthy.
we're looking at Andy Biggs, Dan Bishop, Lauren Boebert,
Claus.
Josh Brecheen,
Jeffries.
Brecheen, and then Michael Cloud.
Babin.
Those will be the 5 votes. If we get
McCarthy.
any before that, or
Bacon.
that weren't those 5,
McCarthy.
that's a big story.
Bayer.
Now Donalds has got momentum.
McCarthy.
If I'm a betting man,
Balderson.
I'm going to say the vote's going to be the same.
McCarthy.
Now, Buck
Ballant.
is the guy that said to the media he was done voting for McCarthy after about 5. Then he voted for him on the 6th
McCarthy.
ballot, but he was reluctant, like
Barr.
didn't vote at the original time. Then they had to call his name many times at the end and finally voted
Farragut.
McCarthy. So now if you're McCarthy people, you are working your butt off to get Buck in line, right?
Farragut.
Just Tom Emmer's job.
Dean of Florida.
Yeah, Tom Emmer's not doing a great job as whip, is he?
McCarthy.
Not
That's
whipping
having
the
this
votes
debate.
real well.
I was having this debate with Bill last night. I'm like,
Beatty.
at some point, if you're Tom Emmer, you're like,
Jeffries.
I don't know how much I want to
Pence.
go in on McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy. Farah.
right, so we're in the B's. So we're waiting for Dan Bishop Andy Biggs of Arizona.
McCarthy.
And I can't imagine
Byer.
him not voting for
Jeffries.
Donalds.
Well, he's not voting for
Vice.
McCarthy. We know that much.
McCarthy. Biggs. Donalds.
There you go. And so next one's Dan Bishop. And I'm pretty sure the guy is going to vote
Bilirakis.
for Donalds because he just gave the
McCarthy.
speech for him.
Bishop of Georgia.
That's
We
his-
already know they're
Jeffries.
at least
Yeah,
five.
Bishop of North Carolina is the one we're talking
Bishop
about. Dan
of
Bishop.
North Carolina.
There you go.
Donalds.
So then we got Lauren Boebert. I don't imagine Boebert's going to change, right?
Blumenauer.
Jake, there's a problem with your
Jeffries.
Twitter. People aren't finding it when they look it
Glenn
up. I
Rochester.
just looked it up. I don't see it either.
Yeah, I
Jeffries.
wasn't able to find it when I was looking it up.
Boebert.
Might need a little work before it starts showing up
Donalds.
for people. I can't imagine why, but
Do you have any
Bonamici.
idea why they
I-
want?
I saw it the other
I
day.
searched action_liberty
Lost.
and it's not popping up.
Where should
McCarthy.
we post it somewhere?
If you have a
Bowman.
link to your profile, if you can send it to me, then I'll circulate it.
Jeffries.
uh,
Boyle of Pennsylvania.
okay, let's wait till let's see Rasheen and then
Jeffries.
Buck. Right
Burkeen.
here. Rakeen.
Donalds.
All right, we just need one more, and obviously Gates is not going to vote. So, but
Brown.
Buck is the big one. Buck would be the one that
Jeffries.
was supposed to change.
Brownlee. Jeffries.
I think it's possible Donald gets one or two
Buchanan.
more.
Would be great.
McCarthy. Buck. McCarthy.
No, didn't do it.
Sean.
Michael Cloud will be the next one. That'll be 5, and then like we had mentioned, you want a little cushion room.
Kaczynski.
It's also important that the 20 stay
Jeffries.
the same.
If that
Burchett.
number
Do you want me to
steadily
email it to you,
grows-
Dawson? What do you want me to do?
Anyway,
Burchett.
it's going to be pretty ridiculous if
Burgess.
absolutely nothing changes vote-wise.
Yeah,
That'll be what,
That's
4 votes?
That's
that have
Congress
all been
for you.
missing?
Pretty
Burleson.
ridiculous.
McCarthy.
You think they're doing another 2 votes today, or are they just going to stick with the 1?
It's just like, what's the point?
Right.
Bush. Jeffries.
Does them
Calvert.
being in
Wouldn't have
there
been funny if
cause-
Bush voted for
McCarthy.
Donald's just to save face.
Kemet.
Does them like occupying this space and being here doing this cost us money
McCarthy.
anyways?
Yeah. per
Yes,
diems.
but I once told
Caraveo.
Michelle Bachmann,
Jeffries. Carbajal.
and I said, because my friend was her
Jeffries.
chief of staff, so I
Cardenas.
had some good one-on-one time with Michelle Bachmann. And I told her, I go,
Jeffries.
I would gladly vote to give you guys
Kerry.
a raise, double your salary if you show up half the
Carl.
time. Because the cost savings there would be
McCarthy.
tremendous, right?
Carson.
Like when we're talking about what does it cost to function in
Jeffries.
Congress? It's
Carter of
probably
Georgia.
$1 million a day, something like that, right?
McCarthy.
Yeah, it's, I guess if you
Carter of
somewhere in the millions,
Louisiana.
right? Low millions. When these guys vote on things,
Jeffries.
it's trillions of dollars and
Carter
trillions
of
of dollars we don't even have.
Good
right?
point. Good point.
Do I dare? That was only a good point, not an excellent point,
Oh,
right?
God.
Will, I
Carter
swear to
of
God, just don't.
Texas.
Jake, that is an
McCarthy.
excellent point. What if I just said you have
Cartwright.
that's a point?
It's
It's neither positive
what
nor
a,
negative.
What a
just
dick
a
move
point.
that is.
You have a point,
Jeffries.
Jake.
You have a point. Whoa, good. I guess I got. I don't know what I would do that one.
Case.
That might be the move.
Jeffries.
Michael Cloud would be the next vote here.
Casson.
I mean, anyone
Jeffries.
paying attention to this knows at this
Pastor
point
of
McCarthy
Florida.
is not going to be the Speaker of the House on this
Jeffries.
vote. Now,
Castro
a little
of
history
Texas.
lesson. No one's ever received.
Chavez.
No one's ever been
Dramer.
elected Speaker of the House between ballots
McCarthy.
4 and 8. It's never happened before,
Sherfilis McCormick. Jeffries.
which really means nothing because
think it's
it's
gonna
only
happen
happened
this
a
time.
handful of
Two.
times. But just an interesting
Jeffries.
note
Right.
for those sports fans that
Cicilline.
like to look at it. Of course, one would
Jeffries.
also say no one's ever come back from a
Ciscovani.
33-point deficit at halftime and won a
McCarthy.
game. That'd be the largest
Clark of
comeback in
Massachusetts.
NFL history, and yet that did happen this year with the
Jeffries.
Vikings.
Clark of New York. Jeffries.
So we're gonna get Cloud after
Cleaver.
Cleaver, I believe,
Jeffries.
or no, Clybourne. No, it'd be after
Klein.
Klein.
McCarthy. Cloud.
All right, so there you go. You got
Bonds.
the 5, and then Andrew Clyde will be 6, and then followed by Eli Crane.
Jeffries. Clyde.
I've circulated the Twitter link. I have no idea
Donalds.
why it isn't showing up in Twitter search bar.
Have we been shadow banned?
I hope
Come
not
on, it's
already.
Elon's Twitter.
Cohen.
We're probably just too new and not relevant enough
That's
yet.
what I think. Yeah.
Jeffries. Cole.
All right, so we already have the 6 votes right now for Donalds.
McCarthy.
Eli Crane will be next, and then
Collins.
Byron Donalds
McCarthy.
is. It's always interesting to see what Byron
Palmer.
Donalds is going to do. All right.
McCarthy.
David Matthew pipes in
Connolly.
on Facebook and says Jeffries is a clown.
Jeffries. Correa.
Hakeem Jeffries, go to Alpha News' story on
Jeffries.
him. This is an election denier.
Costa.
I mean, this is like just, you can't say something like that. It goes against the
Costa.
talking points that are approved by the establishment and the mainstream media.
Jeffries.
But the guy said that Donald Trump
Courtney.
wasn't a legitimate president.
Jeffries.
I think he called him a fake president,
Craig.
a Russian asset.
Jeffries. Crane.
Here goes Crane. There you go.
Donalds.
So far, discipline. So the next one really is Byron Donalds, which
Crawford.
I'm always interested. It does
McCarthy.
kind of undermine the movement if
Crenshaw.
Byron Donalds votes against himself.
He didn't look too enthused earlier.
Now here's a big loser of this.
Crenshaw. Crockett.
Crenshaw's not there to vote. Crenshaw's disgraced himself pretty tremendously at this point.
I don't think anyone likes him anymore.
Yeah.
Jeffries.
I don't know what he's
He
thinking
used
he's
to be
doing.
popular.
Crow.
Yeah.
Jeffries. Cuellar.
I got great respect for my brothers and sisters that fought in the
Jeffries.
military, right? You know, I was in the Army for
Curtis.
12 years, infantry officer. But I don't think necessarily all of us make, I think a lot of them struggle to be good politicians.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I shouldn't say it that way. They're just going to end up the same boat as everyone else. I don't think there's anything specific to the veterans that do it, right? So when you use like your veteran status as a reason why you should be elected, I don't really think it changes anything. Now, veterans in general are very patriotic people. They've done something a little bit more. So I think there is a difference in just generally the ranks of the veterans versus the main population of America.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the people that actually run for office, I don't know if there's a big difference. It seems like a lot of them just go right in the fold. There was a gentleman
Curtis.
said he was an Army Ranger who endorsed McCarthy
McCarthy.
there.
Davids of Kansas.
And we mentioned Morgan
Jeffries.
Luttrell, former
Davidson.
Navy SEAL, brother of Marcus Luttrell
McCarthy.
from the infamous,
Davis of Illinois.
what was that movie?
Jeffries.
Lone Survivor.
Davis
Lone
of
Survivor,
North Carolina.
right.
Jeffries. Dean
Twin
of
brother, by the way.
Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. Dela Cruz.
So we're waiting on Byron
McCarthy.
Donalds. Will he vote for himself? It would be a good
Delora.
move, establishment, to get him to vote
Jeffries.
against himself, which
Del
might not
Bene.
change it because Jordan was voting against himself and they
Jeffries.
still wanted him.
DeLuzio. Jeffries.
Did you see
DeSaulnier.
Byron Donald's media hit yesterday
Jeffries.
with the like he had the press pool outside of the
Desjardins.
Capitol? Did you see this? It was great.
Yeah, he was a real chill guy.
Oh,
Diaz-Pazito.
super cool guy.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
I have no idea what his voting
Diaz-Balart.
record's like. It's probably great because he's only been there, I think,
McCarthy.
one term, and
He's
Dingle.
decent from what I've.
yeah, but I
From what
mean
I've
he's in the
heard.
minority, so
Jeffries.
you never know.
Right. Good point.
That's
Doggett. Jeffries.
it's tough. It's
Dom-
tough not to
William,
do
I'm
something
gonna
with that.
start playing a sound effect in your ear when you say it, and I'm gonna negatively like.
Donalds.
I'm gonna.
Oh, I
Make
didn't even
you
notice that
not
time.
Duarte.
See, this is
ever
the
do it
thing. It
again.
just it's
You
part
don't
of
even know.
my
McCarthy.
Donald's didn't
vocabulary.
vote.
Duncan.
You see that? Donald's didn't vote.
McCarthy.
I did not.
Dunn
Yeah.
of Florida.
I'm gonna see what.
Now
the-
he was up towards the
McCarthy.
top, so he might have ducked out.
Edwards.
used the bathroom at the wrong
McCarthy.
time.
And it really doesn't matter. You can come back and vote. So
McCarthy.
Matt Gaetz will be the next, followed by Bob
Emmer.
Good and Paul Gosar. So you got 3 right there, really dependable
Emmer.
Donald's votes. So Donald's at least has 10 votes.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point,
Escobar.
Donald's does not have a vote from himself.
Jeffries.
It'd be
Which
real
is-
discouraging
Escher.
if they lost votes this round.
And
Jeffries.
it's discouraging, but really in the grand scheme of things, does
Escayano.
not matter. It doesn't matter.
Jeffries.
It's true.
Estes.
But if you can gain votes for the Donald,
That's
and
huge.
Whoever, yeah,
Yes.
that
Evans.
McCarthy may as well drop out at
Jeffries.
that point.
Ezell. McCarthy. Fallon.
I'm going to take these off here because I don't think we need the audio playing right now, Dawson, just because we can read the script. So we'll put the audio on if some new person breaks ranks and votes for Donald's. At this point, it looks like it's interesting. The only reason there's Finstad from Congressional District 1, Minnesota, reliable McCarthy votes. Fishbach, too, McCarthy. All of the Republican delegation in Minnesota is voting for McCarthy, so that tells you what you need to know about Minnesota Republican Congress people. And, of course, Tom Emmer, the majority whip, his job is to get more votes for McCarthy. So they're sitting on the sidelines on this important move. Now, the interesting thing is Fox News, this is completely broken Fox News. They don't understand. They are revealing themselves for just the establishment Washington, D.C. hacks they always have been, really. The mainstream conservative voice, right? Honestly, conservatives, I guess there's a part of conservative that is conserving, but the status quo isn't conserving the traditional values of America.
Right.
So they're way out of step. And that's what this is about. Let's not make any mistake about what we're seeing here. It's 20 pretty bold conservatives in the U.S. Congress finally saying enough is enough. We are spending money we don't have. We are creating these bills no one's reading. We can't even make amendments on the floor. There's Gates, obviously a Donald's vote.
Yep.
Look who's sitting next to him. Margaret Taylor
Wait.
Greene.
It says for others.
Did he really vote for Trump? He voted for Trump. That's funny.
Whoa.
Matt Gaetz voted for Trump.
Wait.
Now, that's a bad move in my opinion because what it does is it looks like it's a gimmick.
Trump.
Here, play. I didn't have my thing on. Go back to it real quick.
Fulcher. McCarthy. Gates. Trump.
Look how Marjorie Taylor Greene looks at him.
Gallagher. McCarthy.
Huh.
Gallego.
I mean, it's kind of a dumb move at this point. Unless all 20 start voting for Trump, now you literally just took a vote from Donald's. But
Hey, maybe come tomorrow. It'll be Trump that's the candidate.
I mean, literally, that's what gets interesting.
Because Donald stepped out. Maybe he doesn't want it anymore.
It could be setting the stage for where they go with this. So we get to Good here coming up. Good's going to be most likely a Donald's voter. Is he going to go Donald Trump? He goes Donald's. Yeah, I don't know. Unless there's a move here where they start going Trump, which is just for the lulls, right?
Well, you're going to start seeing
Grocers.
articles about how dangerous that would be, a Trump speakership.
Yeah. Andy Harris. So at this point, Donald Trump right now has one vote for Speaker of the U.S. House. That is a firm. If only we would have had Jesse in studio today.
I was
When's
going
the
to
last
say,
time
what's
that happened?
Jesse doing right now?
Jesse probably doesn't know. Where's my phone?
Tweeted him from the Action for Liberty Twitter. Or actually, Jesse probably doesn't have a Twitter anymore, huh?
No, Jesse's on Truth Social. You got Truth at him.
Yeah, go truth at him.
We're gonna break the news to Jesse live on air.
Oh my goodness.
MAGA Jesse.
This guy's giving a speech every single time.
What is he doing? Why is he not picking up the phone?
Hey Jake.
You are live on air right now, just so you know. Are you watching the vote go down?
No, not right this second.
This is wonderful. So young William and I get to break news to you for the first time ever.
All right, good to hear.
Donald Trump has received one vote for Speaker of the House.
No way, who did it?
Matt Gaetz.
Oh man, that is awesome.
There, you guys hear it.
That is unbelievable. I was sitting here hoping there's no way that's gonna happen, but that's awesome. No, I got to start following it. Then I got to see what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's only one vote. Donald's has 9, so
I think it's going to be the only one for today.
It might be the
We'll
only
see if
one.
that changes.
Donald's hasn't voted yet.
That's okay. It just needed to happen one time. This is history in the making. Trump 2024.
Wait, it could be
predicted
Trump 2023 right now. What do you? Why are you going 2024? There's
I think there's too many rhinos in
Here-
the caucus to make that happen, but that is awesome news. I mean, I like Matt Gaetz a whole lot more now.
Hey, Jesse, Trump's stock on Predicted just went up a little bit. Went up a cent
Did
after
you
that.
did you have money on Trump's stock? Unpredicted.
Of course I got money on Trump.
All
4
right.
cents a share right now.
Maybe I'll we'll see what goes on. Maybe I'll buy some more.
All right. Very good. Well, you take care of business today, and we'll see you in studio soon.
Sounds good.
Later.
Yeah, good info to know.
All right.
Yep, bye.
Tickled.
Oh,
Nice.
that's so funny. Yeah. What are the odds that the show that we do is without him, or he's not in studio for that big news story? Are you calling someone?
No, I was just,
Who was the last guy that
accidentally
voted?
dialed. How did I do that? Why is my phone? My phone is starting to dial people now.
Who'd
That
you
was
call?
weird. Well, I called my wife. I called Dale. I don't know. Jeez, that was crazy.
bring everyone on the show over the phone. Why not?
Yeah, like let's get through. Well, Dale would probably be interested in that.
Yeah.
Talking about Collins. There you go. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
I gotta put in a group text. Let the record show.
McCarthy. Isa. McCarthy.
That was a butt dial. Just ignore it. Like,
Jeffries. Jackson of Illinois.
well, you always worry, like with the spouse, like, oh, why are you calling me at this time of day?
Yeah,
I
right.
don't want to worry about anything.
We're a very professional live studio.
Well, this is a hang. That's the show format. It's a hang. Things happen. This isn't a scripted show. We don't know what's going to go on today. I mean, generally they know what's going on. Kevin McCarthy, is he still squatting in the speaker's office? Do you know?
I think so. Why would he go anywhere? I mean, the Gates thing was just like a performance thing. I doubt anything actually came of it.
James. McCarthy.
Has at least one vote for Speaker of the House.
Jeffries.
Mike Schmidt on Rumble asks if any Democrats have broken ranks.
No. And that's the thing is, it's a great question, Mike. The people that say they're for democracy somehow are all listening to the party bosses. If you don't know, like the Republican Party, and we're hard on the Republican Party because it's full of a bunch of cronies, right? And they're very much just the Democrat Party.
Jeffries.
But at least the Republican Party has some opening to outside views and conservatism. The Democrats don't. I mean, all you have to do is study what happened to Bernie Sanders 2 election cycles in a row.
That's how they win.
Yeah, that's how they win. They literally do not believe in democracy when it comes down to it. When they say they believe in democracy, it's whatever benefits them politically with their left-wing agenda. That's it. They don't really truly believe in democracy. They're all. You think Jeffries really has the voice of everyone in that caucus? Bullshit. I mean, seriously, if you're at all good at politics, you have enemies, right? So he's going to have enemies in that caucus. There's no way these guys are unified on that stuff. So really the people showing democracy are the Republicans right now. And yes, that is an excellent point. William, thank you very much for that. See, I even know you're a good point. Look.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm holding
that
it
on
back
screen?
right now. I'm doing my best.
Do you have that on screen? That's his good point. Look.
That's a point, Jake.
That's
a point.
All right. Andy Harris did vote. Luna would be the next vote. Paulina Luna, followed by Mary Miller.
My mind keeps going back to what Jesse said the other day. I think it was during the first vote where if the Democrats were smart, they would throw somebody up who might be able to even pull over some Republican votes.
Well, no. So that's not going to work.
I don't know who
It
that
was
would
not
be
gonna work.
even.
Because the conference right now, the Republican conference, is determined to get McCarthy. They're followers, okay? Despite Crenshaw will probably never admit that he's a follower. He's a follower. He's doing what he's being told, right? And there's a reason for that. Listen, if you don't have deep held principles, like us, like I have this bias towards liberty, free market, stuff like that. If you don't have those deep core principles, it's very rational to be a follower of the establishment because you'll stay in power, you'll get reelected, you'll get press time, you'll be invited to the parties, all that good stuff happens, right? Get in line. That's a rational way to look at things. Just don't come lecture me about who's conservative because you're a sellout. You don't have those principles. That's McCarthy's epitome of that, right? They're making calculations. I'm not saying those are irrational calculations. They're benefiting yourself. It's always like, I don't blame someone for being a lobbyist, right? You're doing something that probably pays really well and you're helping out your family. And there's a principle that you're helping out your family, providing them a good living, right? But don't come lecture me then on politics because you're a sellout, right? You don't have the core. I do things a lot that don't benefit me personally because I truly believe in liberty. It's rational. Maybe that's the rational viewpoint, right? Maybe that is the epitome of rationality. But I really care about this thing. It's like I've explained this to people. It's like the blood going through my veins. That's how much I believe in liberty. These people, most of these congressmen, they're followers. They don't want it. They don't have these principles. They will sell out in a heartbeat. And that makes sense for them personally. And once again, that's what this whole thing's about. Who's representing the people? Not those guys. They're at odds with the conservative base. We are sick and tired of them caring so much about their own political careers. It's a great bait and switch. I talk about this often. You go to a legislator or a politician, and let's just say it's a Republican. You go, I want you to vote no on vaccine mandates. And they go, yeah, I'm with you, but we can't do this. We need to win back the House, and therefore we need to beat the Democrats. And are you with me in beating the Democrats? Oh, yeah, the Democrats are really bad. Well, guess what they just did? They flipped you.
Here's Luna.
Yeah, here's Luna. Why did she not get her vote? Donald's. She stayed Donald's. And so what they did is they flipped you. They took your priorities, put them secondary, and brought you into their top priority. And what's their top priority? Well, you got to get me reelected, and you got to get other self-serving politicians elected. Do you see what's going on? That's what these guys care about. They're just self-serving.
Right.
It makes sense for them. Meanwhile, we're all getting screwed. That's how you get the $1.7 trillion that gets passed. That's how it happens. There's just a bunch of people that care more about their prestige up at the Capitol. And Donald Trump, Mr. Drain the Swamp, doesn't realize that when he's pitching, McCarthy as the guy.
Well, for a solid minute, it looked like he was wavering a little bit. And then they snapped him right back into place.
You talking about Trump?
Yeah.
Who snaps him back in place?
He's got to have handlers. There's no way he's automatically thinking, yeah, McCarthy's my guy.
That's true, but he gives you the impression he doesn't. Next up would be Mary Miller, then Ralph Norman. Ralph Norman, I think, will be reliably still strong. So at this point, the only reason the vote has changed, other than Byron Donalds not voting, is because Matt Gaetz cast a vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Which makes it look gimmicky, And
I think he did promise he'd do that at some point, so maybe he sees this as his opportunity to do it at least once.
Yeah, the vote that doesn't matter.
Right.
It does get a headline, but it does make it look a little gimmicky.
Right.
It doesn't look gimmicky if the 20 conservatives start voting for Trump. Then it doesn't look gimmicky because it's like, all right, we don't see Donald's getting any more votes. We want Donald Trump.
Well, I think Trump would get on board with that. If he saw momentum, he'd be like, hey, guys, vote for me. Why not?
Trump will take the Speaker of the House, and then he'll assassinate Biden and Kamala Harris, and that's how he becomes president again. I'm calling it.
You said it, not me, Jake.
Has Trump said anything about his
one vote?
That's
a joke. Come on. Don't worry about it. That's not going to happen. Or is it? No.
Has Trump talked about his one vote that he got in a
Let me open
that
Truth Social.
Yeah, I want you follow on Truth Social.
Let's find out the
Miller of
truth here.
Illinois, Miller of Illinois, they're calling Donald's. There we go. She has been very reliable for. I gotta admit, I don't know much about Mary Miller. I looked her up the other day. Mother of 7 children.
Oh my goodness!
Right there, that shows somebody that can handle quite a.
He's not said anything.
Distress.
He has not said anything. He posted a video an hour ago. Probably like a campaign ad.
Yeah.
Is it real that he's selling NFTs, or is that?
Yeah.
That's
he
real?
sold a bunch of NFTs. No, he sold out within a couple hours.
Oh my goodness.
I thought that stupid thing's over.
He made
but-
millions. Yeah,
He
this is
made
a couple
millions
weeks
sending
back.
selling NFTs?
Yeah.
I thought the thing was over. I thought everyone realized that's stupid.
NFTs?
Yeah.
Well, when it's Trump NFTs, you gotta buy them.
He marketed them as Trump playing cards, virtual playing cards. And if you bought them, my favorite one was you can get in a Zoom call with him and possibly be able to ask him a question that he might answer.
Did they word it like that?
would
That
work.
was exactly. It was worded like more legally.
I'm not even
than
a big
that.
Trump guy, and I would do something like that.
I would
don't know
love
what
to
the
have
price
done it
was,
live.
but
Yeah.
I would like to meet Trump. All right, I got my opinions on Donald Trump. it would be interesting to see the person, you know, because the problem with Trump from day one is that he was never going to get a fair shake in the media. So it'd be interesting to actually get to know the person, right? Most of us just get to see the public perception. And we weed through a lot of that. Most people can't. That's what Trump derangement syndrome is. They just can't see through all the lies about the guy. But it would be interesting to meet with him.
Has Trump written a book about being president? That's like a tradition, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And
Well, he's not done yet. He thinks he's gaining another term, and then he can write his book.
How old is he now?
I don't know how he doesn't write a book. That is a fascinating
70?
read.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
He's written books before, not about being president.
So Norman remained Donalds. Then we got Andy
Art of
Oakes,
the Deal.
Scott Perry. Scott Perry will remain Donalds. I was reading his Twitter. Rosendale from Montana's been really good. Chip Roy will stay true. So it looks like the only thing that's going to change here, other than Byron Donalds not voting yet, is that Matt Gaetz and Oakes voted Donalds. Is that Gaetz voted for Donald Trump? That's it. That's the only thing that's changed. And then everyone's going to see that as not really a momentum change. Matt Gaetz is the one guy. I mean, I would call him the leader of this thing, so to speak. Chip Roy's certainly been very vocal. I want to see Byron Donalds be the leader of this thing. That guy's kind of impressive. Watching that media, I wish we had 9 minutes to spare today to just show you how Byron Donalds handled the media. It was a thing of beauty. Just YouTube it. I'm sure you'll find it. All right, Scott Perry will be next, followed by Matt Rosendale. That old crow.
Is there
next
a
to
They didn't stand
Betty
and clap
McCollum.
this time.
Yeah.
They've been standing and clapping every time she votes the past 2 days. I
They're getting
think.
tired.
Yeah. What's the point?
Most of the people in there are over like 50.
Yeah. What's the median age of Congress? Has anyone calculated that?
I don't know, but
For
the
this-
median
this
job
term?
is lawyer.
I'll look it up quick.
Seems like we're getting younger people now.
It's probably slowly going down.
AOC definitely brought down the age.
Yeah.
I was 21 when she got in.
You got to be 25 at least.
That's right.
She's I
Jeez,
think
Jake.
she's 30 now.
Jeez, Jake, do you not know the Constitution? 25 for a House and
No,
gotta be
no
35
median
for
age.
president.
The average age of members of the House at the beginning of the 117th Congress was 58.4 years.
58.4 years, okay.
That's
I'm assuming your
ridiculous.
mic's on right now. I don't have
Yeah.
the headset on. Okay.
Yeah, it's on. People can hear me. 60 years
Posey,
old.
did we miss Perry? Scroll back. I'm sorry. What happened with Scott Perry?
Phillip, Flickery, Perry, Peters,
Perry wasn't absent. Okay. All right. Let's catch back up. So we got Matt Rosendale from Montana.
Ramirez,
Might mean nothing. Just so you know,
Raskin,
these people do have bladders that need to be drained. They could be doing a media hit. They're supposed to have staff.
Reschenthaler,
Here's the question. You asked how much does it cost every day that Congress meets?
McCarthy,
Mm.
Rogers
Are
of
these guys getting
Alabama,
paid?
McCarthy,
They're not sworn in yet. They're not officially congressmen.
That's a good question.
Rogers of Kentucky,
That's a
Well,
good
yeah,
question.
do they
Like,
have
when do
to-
they start getting their per
Do they
diems?
have to
I
suffer?
now have good questions.
Do they have to suffer without a salary for
Dawson,
days
get
until
I
it.
this
love
works?
it, Dawson. That's right on. Rosendale. Donalds. Okay, there you go. Yeah, poor guys. They have to go without pay like rest of country time to time.
Yeah.
Chip Roy obviously is going to be at Donalds here, but let's just
Donald,
see. Yep, he was quick on that one. And see, he's already off to go probably do a media hit. So really, there's 2 left until they redo it. So Keith Self. So let's go ahead and turn the volume on because Victoria Spartz is going to be the fascinating one. She voted president
McCarthy,
twice yesterday. It kind of came out of the blue. I don't know if anyone was
Jeffries.
anticipating that. President just means that she's not voting for McCarthy. It actually helps Jeffries.
Salinas,
It doesn't put him over the top, but
Jeffries.
technically it makes Jeffries
Sanchez,
closer to the majority
Jeffries.
vote. I'm not trying to like sell out Victoria Spartz. It really is a moot point. Here's your boy George
Santos.
Santos. Okay, so McCarthy's got
McCarthy.
another black vote.
Sarbanes.
Like his name's
Jeffries.
Santos, and he says he's black.
Scalise.
That's just like,
I thought he said he was Jewish.
McCarthy.
oh, was it Jewish? I thought he said he was black. Is he a black Jew?
I thought he said Jewish. That's what I
He
heard.
probably was Jewish. I thought for some reason. Maybe I was reading something that said he was a race. He wasn't. And sometimes people consider Jews a
But
race.
George Santos
Scanlon.
isn't
I
his
think
real
it's
name.
fair. What's that?
George
Jeffries.
Santos isn't his real name.
Sukowski.
Of course not.
Isn't it Jorge Santos?
Keith Self is the next one. And Self's been reliable.
Jeffries. Schiff.
Yeah,
Jeffries.
shit. Isn't that a shame that guy's still up there?
Snyder.
I can't believe that the average age
Jeffries.
of a congressperson
Skolton.
wouldn't know
Jeffries.
how the internet
Schreier.
works.
I would bet
Jeffries.
you the average age of the
Swigert.
senator is almost 10 years above that.
Oh,
It
for
is.
sure.
McCarthy.
It is
Austin Scott.
64.3 years.
Not that much more.
Austin Scott. David Scott.
Minnesota, it's way different.
Jeffries.
Minnesota State's probably way.
Scott of Virginia. Jeffries. Self.
Okay, so Self
Donalds.
stays Donald's. So really, it's Victoria Sparks. This will be interesting to see what she does. She voted
Sessions.
ballot 1 McCarthy, ballot
McCarthy.
2 McCarthy, ballot 3 McCarthy, on ballot 4, which had been yesterday's first vote.
Sewell.
She was present and she voted
Jeffries.
present all 3
Sherman.
ballots. Present just means I'm not voting on
Jeffries.
this one, which takes away from
Sherrill.
the voting strength.
Jeffries.
So Donald's is missing
Simpson.
the
He's-
one Trump vote,
McCarthy.
the present, or the ones that
Slotkin.
haven't.
He's missing
Oh.
his own vote,
Jeffries.
and he's missing Scott Perry.
Smith of Missouri. McCarthy.
So Sparts is the big one here.
Smith of Nebraska.
And maybe they got Sparts on board, and
McCarthy.
that's why
Smith of New Jersey.
Gates is like, I'm going to go Donald Trump on this
McCarthy.
round.
Smith of Washington. Jeffries.
Yeah, it could have been.
Smucker.
You so bad, they must say good point, didn't you?
McCarthy. Sorensen. Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries. Spamberger. Jeffries. Sparts. Sparts.
Oh, she's not there?
Stansberry.
I mean,
Same thing
God,
happened yesterday.
Jeffries.
these people want a little drama. It's so interesting. Like, Congress is boring as hell.
Stanton.
I mean, even
Jeffries.
Dawson wouldn't give a
Stauber.
crap about this stuff. I mean,
McCarthy.
you got to admit, the suspense is
Steele.
pretty interesting.
Stauber just voted
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Stop it.
Stefanik.
Unexpected.
This has got to be
McCarthy.
the most exciting government
Style.
thing that I've watched since the election.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
Stubbe.
Probably the most interesting thing since
McCarthy.
Eric Mortensen refused to take
Stevens.
The lemon bar.
Tim Walz's lemon
Jeffries.
bars.
Stewart.
That's such a funny. That's such a good
McCarthy.
story.
Strickland.
The video's funny too.
The video's hilarious. And,
Jeffries.
and I watched that live,
Strong.
and I'm like, who's that guy
McCarthy.
going over and talking to Eric
Swalwell.
Mortensen? I'm going to take these off until we go back
Jeffries.
and do a follow-up. Yeah, I watched that live, and I was like, who's this guy going over and talking to Mort? Mort, who, this is day 1 of the 2022 session, and he's just like, I'm not going to wear a mask. Like, he never wore a mask on the House floor, but he just stopped going because, they said they wouldn't call on him. He's like, that's it. I'm going to make the stand now. I'm just not going to go and wear a mask on the House floor. So he broke the rules. So I see this guy, and I think it's the Sergeant Arms because I'm watching a camera from, like, up high going over to him.
Right.
And it turns out it's Tim Walz asking if he wants a lemon bar. And, yeah, Mort goes back at him pretty hard. And then I had Republicans tell me that was so disrespectful for the governor. I'm like, that's it. You just understand that there's a fraction, there's a big fissure in the conservative or Republican ranks, and there are people that just literally believe in the status quo, which I think conservatives philosophically are probably more aligned to do it. So maybe it's the libertarian in me that really wants to shake things up. But honest to God, I come back down to the point that they're not following the Constitution. They're putting us in endless debt. I mean, I think it was yesterday's program. I just don't think America's going to work anymore, right? When you look at the current liabilities over $30 trillion and the unfunded liabilities of Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, on top of that, interest rates going up, so the financing of that debt is going to be catastrophic. I don't know how America survives that. Honestly, it's a numbers problem. So it's not like we have assets that we can sell, and that's scary. So when the debt comes due, do we have to start getting rid of assets? Do we sell Yellowstone National Park to the Chinese? Like, what do you do? How do you make this thing work? As a business, no one's giving us a loan, right?
Yeah.
So it might be a moot point. We're just doomed. But at least fight for this country. And you can't, if you think McCarthy's going to change this, you're living in this fantasy world.
To be fair, whoever, even if McCarthy's not the guy, it's a lot to ask for to get someone who's real good to be speaker. Because they're going to be corrupted eventually.
I mean, that's the argument I have against Trump, right? Trump went with a great message, drain the swamp. And he clearly didn't drain the swamp, because when he left office, the last thing he signed into law was the worst omnibus bill ever. He never stopped. He never refused to sign one of those big omnibus bills, right? So it's like there was more pork, more BS.
He did veto the Defense Authorization Act, like in 2021, or no, in 2020, I think.
Yeah, and then how did it end it back?
And then
on his
they
desk?
overrode. They overrode the veto.
Oh,
in
they overrode the
Congress.
veto. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. I did forget about that.
So one rare
obviously
moment
Trump,
from Trump.
Trump sleeps and bounds better than the current resident there at 1600 Pennsylvania. We're not making that argument one bit. I mean, we certainly don't like Biden. I'm just saying that Trump couldn't do it. You'd think
Right.
Trump would be the person that could do it. So you're right.
Right.
It might not matter in the grand scheme of things. But if it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, then why are we so mad that they're holding up the show? That's what I can't understand, is these conservative commentators. I think this is just such a disaster. It's a clown show. How dare they do this? It's like, you guys are a clown show. You know, most people give you guys 11% approval rating.
Yep.
And yet 92% get reelected. Do you have something for me, Dawson?
Yeah, Mike on Rumble brings up that it's disrespectful not to be there to vote when called on. I think that's such a... Could you imagine anybody else with a job just not showing up when it's...
I mean, just to give a little bit of fairness, like, if you're doing a media hit or something like that, because I do think part of their job should be to communicate to the public. And so if they're outside the chambers, because you can't do a media hit inside the chambers, then you could understand. So they're going to go back. So now it's disrespectful here if you don't show up and do it. So I would expect all these guys to then vote.
Who did not answer the first call of the roll.
I mean, look, McCarthy doesn't have a lot of votes still. He usually is he should be at 202. So
Berrigan. Jeffries.
or 201 maybe.
Jeffries is awfully close to that 218 number. Especially if
Well,
the
Jeffries is
threshold
going to get
lower.
212.
212?
Burchett.
Yeah, Jeffries isn't picking up votes.
McCarthy.
If he did, we totally missed a Republican vote for
Right.
Jeffries. He's just not going to get more than 212.
Well, the threshold changed for
We don't know the
members who didn't
threshold.
show
It doesn't
up,
look
right?
like the threshold has changed. Right
Crenshaw. McCarthy.
Okay.
they asked for a quorum, but it doesn't mean that a member can't show up and vote, right?
Right.
That's what happens. Yesterday, we thought at the start that Democrats were doing that. We thought McCarthy had a
Donalds.
deal.
Donalds.
So Donalds did vote for himself. There you go.
Great.
And so really it comes down Scott Perry, but it really comes down to Victoria Sports. For God's sakes, Victoria,
Emmer.
give us a vote.
Oh,
McCarthy.
Emmer wasn't there earlier. I missed that.
Yeah, I agree. They should really do their job. Wouldn't that be the talk of town if Emmer, the majority whip,
Hageman.
doesn't vote for McCarthy?
McCarthy.
We should do something. Emmer refused to vote for Donald Trump. But see, the problem is Donald Trump wasn't actually nominated. So someone should nominate him if that's the play.
Right.
That's why I don't like Gates doing that. That's kind of stupid, but
Again, I just think
he
it's
could
fulfilling
change
a
his vote,
promise.
by the way.
I could. He could.
But then that takes off the record. That I think you're right. I think he probably promised his constituents he'd vote for Trump on one ballot.
Yeah.
So are there 2 votes missing for Donalds?
Well, so Scott Perry, and so the other one would have been
Mills.
Matt Gates, but we don't know what Sparks is going to do.
Okay, so
McCarthy.
it's whether or not that's present or not.
Yeah, so Scott Perry, we expect 19 for Donalds. The only reason the votes change, we predicted the vote
Perry.
would change. It's just because Matt Gates wanted to cast a vote for Donald Trump.
Well,
He's
that-
obviously going to be a Donald's guy.
Perry.
Well, if this is the case,
Here-
then I
here.
think
Rushenthaler. McCarthy.
present
Perry voted president?
just didn't.
Where's Scott Perry?
Well, with this being the case, I think Gates's play was not a good one.
McCarthy.
Where the heck is Scott Perry? That's like a reliable vote.
Sparks. Present.
Oh, come on. I don't get that. Yeah, Scott Perry has not voted in this round.
Hey, Liz Harrington, a Trump spokeswoman, retweeted Matt Gaetz's vote.
I think Perry could still go down.
If there are any representatives
Right here.
elect who did not answer the call of the roll,
Right here.
they may come to the well and
Yeah.
vote at this time.
Exactly. So they could still go and that's part of the thing is the
Just do it
official
again.
vote. It takes 10, 15 minutes for the clerks to actually tally it up. So Scott Perry can go to the front and cast his vote still.
As of
Once
2 minutes ago, Scott Perry's doing a media hit.
Exactly. That's what I
So.
said. Is I think what happens here is that these guys go out and do media hits in the gallery, and
So
I'm sorry, not the gallery. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about.
the place outside
The place
chamber.
outside. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. Jeez.
Good point, Jake.
Rotunda. There we go. There's Scott Perry.
Look at him running over.
Coming from a media hit. Now, I honestly, I don't fault these guys because I think it makes sense.
Mr. Perry, you are not recorded. You are not recorded.
Donald's.
Donald.
Yeah, read his lips there.
Read his lips. All right. Well, and Scott Perry's been a reliable vote. They've already done the tally there. So yes, the vote is the same for the most part. Obvious. Oh, look, it was another guy who went and got him. I think it was that Norman or Olds. Gates went Donald Trump on this. So the record does show Donald Trump has a vote. There's Biggs and Gates making sure that he did go vote.
Let's pour one more out for the stenographer. That lady's like in her 70s. She's on death's door, and she's spending her days here.
Honestly, not just that. I mean, she'll do that no matter what.
Yeah, and the
In
production
fact,
crew.
What about a filibuster? That would be the bad stuff.
That would be
not that this is the Senate,
exciting
this is
to
the
watch.
House. Although the House has a filibuster per se in the sense that they will delay or extend debates. I mean, McCarthy talked about he had. What did he do? A speech for 7 hours or something like that. He's like, I'm going to wait this thing out. The way this has got to go is either McCarthy has got to go to the Democrats and get a bunch of them to agree not to show up, or he's got to concede everything to these guys. And that's why this is such a great play, right? The people that don't understand this is why it's such a great play, is you got to concede. You're going to get concessions. You're going to make Congress better, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, for whatever reason, Jesse still wants to stand up for, right? I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the biggest losers here because she's gone on so hard for McCarthy, and I'm
She
sure a
sold
lot of her
out.
constituents don't like that.
Yeah.
But the problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's saying they're just doing this for selfish reasons. They want to be on committees. You know what committees they want to be on? The Rules Committee, for a reason, so that the establishment can't change the rules.
Right.
They're not. I don't think these. I mean, some of these guys are probably doing it for a selfish reason, but they're doing it for a really good reason. Washington's broke, and finally, some people are standing up to it. That's what I really appreciate. So we are going to be probably about 10, 15 minutes away from the official vote. What I'd like to do, Dawson, let's put that in the bottom screen, or the small screen, and I want to cover a couple other things here until we get to that vote, because we're really not going to learn anything. It is fun to kind of watch these guys maneuver the room and try to change people's votes and stuff like that, and then we try to guess what they're saying, and when it's Jesse and me, we assume they're trying to deal prostitutes to these guys. We're probably a little off on that one, maybe not that far off. Right now, there is no Speaker of the House. 7 ballots has not produced a Speaker of the House. There's been 4 sessions. Session 1 on January 3rd, 3 ballots. Second session, morning of January 4th, yesterday, 3 ballots, no Speaker. Session number 3, last night, January 4th, at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that went to quick adjournment, which is really dramatic. Almost didn't get the votes to adjourn. So they adjourned for the night, came back again today, noon Eastern. We've got 1 ballot in. This is the 4th session so far, and we still have no Speaker of the House. And this is unprecedented. This hasn't happened. I think it was 8 or 9 ballots. I guess it was between, no one's been elected Speaker between 4 and 7. I think it was 8 ballots in 1923. If someone knows the answer, just write in the comment section. So we're really in historic territory. I made a comment. There's a black woman that's the clerk. The last time this would have happened, the clerk certainly wasn't a black woman, right?
Right.
So once again, just shows the good progress we've made over the this history. And also, you can't ignore the fact that the Republicans literally have a black gentleman running for Speaker of the House, right? So that's pretty historic. So once again, I think this is a great exercise in democracy, right? This is a very democratic process playing out. Let's go to the Minnesota legislature. So obviously November elections happen, new legislatures swear in, and that's on usually the first business day of the new year, or first Tuesday they usually do it, which this year was January 3rd. We didn't have the drama in Minnesota that they're having out in Washington, D.C. The unfortunate thing is it's all Democrat control. And yesterday we found out exactly the top priority for the Democrats. And how do we know it's the top priority? Because it's HR1, House File, I'm sorry, not HR1, HF1, House File 1, which means it's the first bill, the top bill by Democrats. Now let's pull that up here. This is what they call the Reproductive Health Rights Bill. That's not the title. They had some clever title for it. This is Let's Kill Babies bill. This is their abortion. So basically what they're doing here in this bill is they're making sure that if the Supreme Court ever changes, okay, if it ever changes, we have got this in statute. So if you look at subdivision 3, first subdivision is the title, subdivision 2 definition. Subdivision 3, reproductive freedom. Every individual has a fundamental right to make autonomous decisions about the individual's own reproductive health, including the fundamental right to use or refuse reproductive health care. Now, they should say here, they did say individual. Did you notice that important thing that they said? Not woman. Not every woman has a right to reproductive care, but every individual. Because men can get pregnant, William. All right, subdivision, so section B. Every individual, not just woman, but anyone who can get pregnant, any individual who becomes pregnant and has a fundamental right to continue the pregnancy and give birth or obtain an abortion and to make autonomous decisions about how to exercise this fundamental right. And then subdivision 4, right to reproductive freedom recognized. The Minnesota Constitution establishes the principles of individual liberty, personal privacy, and equality. Such principles ensure the fundamental right to reproductive freedom. Now, that's the way the Supreme Court has read it. The subdivision 5 is just saying no local government can interfere and restrict a woman's right to kill her baby. Where in here do you see when that baby becomes a baby? Do you see it in there?
I was about to ask that. So does this eliminate any restrictions on abortion?
This eliminates. This is as extreme as it gets. You can kill a baby. Like, this is what I've said on the show before, and in many conversations around here. This all comes down to when does life begin? Because we should at least, as a society, just acknowledge that you can't kill a human life, right? I mean, other than like the exceptions of war, and I'm not even really pro-death sentence because I think we get too many of those things wrong. But obviously, our society at least believes a convicted murderer can be put to death.
Usually in self-defense as well.
Yes, self-defense.
Yeah.
You can't kill an innocent life. There's nothing more innocent than a baby, right? So when does that begin? And I think the right, at least, is somewhat honest and says it begins at conception. You can debate it. You can debate it from a scientific standpoint. It's tough to debate that from a scientific standpoint. Heartbeat starts 28 days or something like that? I can't, 20 days? I should know this by heart.
It's on all the billboards when you go up north.
Yeah, no, you'd think I would know the billboards by heart. There are bills in other states that say 20 weeks, no abortion before 20 weeks. When does life begin? If you look at what the Democrats are saying, life doesn't begin until that baby is born, right? Because when you look at this bill, go ahead and put it back up. It says, it's really in B, every individual who becomes pregnant has a fundamental right to continue the pregnancy and give birth or obtain an abortion.
Yeah.
So there is no exceptions on abortion. If you have a 7-pound, 39-week-old baby who can clearly live outside the womb, you can end that pregnancy. According to this bill. That's the number one priority by the Democrats, is to allow a 7-pound, 39-week-old baby to be put to death if the mother and a doctor or physician is willing to do it.
But they're not stopping here. They want this to be an issue to talk about in 2024. So, of course, they're going to push a constitutional amendment and get everyone out, all the young people back out to vote on this issue.
But
that
they're not pushing a constitutional amendment.
Well, just
Why
wait.
would they need to do
Just
a constitutional amendment? According to David Hand, the Republican Party chair, it's already in the Constitution.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe there's no opposition to their
Only
assertion.
good point, not an excellent point on that one.
Yeah, only a good one. Only
Alright.
a good one.
Yeah, if you didn't follow that show, we show how David Hand told every candidate in the state of Minnesota back in like September that if you have to talk about abortion, say it's a constitutional right. It's like, no, it's not a constitutional right. Some crazy justices called it a constitutional right. It's not in the Constitution. It's insane that they would say something like that. Because if we take the part of the Constitution that's, establishes the principles of individual liberty, well, what about the individual liberty of an unborn baby? When does life begin? That's the question. Because obviously animals don't have the rights that human beings have, right? So this thing that's in the womb, when does it become a human life? That's the big question. And the Democrats in Minnesota just told you it doesn't become life until it's born. They get that way wrong. And it's going to take some Republicans with guts, like these 20 Republicans in U.S. Congress, actually calling that out and telling the press that. Because they just play defense. They get the abortion issue all wrong. Oh, no exceptions for rape or incest. And once again, if a life begins at a certain time, then why does rape and incest count? It doesn't matter. You can't kill a human life. Can you kill a 10-year-old that's a victim of rape or incest? No. So once a life begins, once we define that, you can't kill a human being. It's so obvious. It should be just part of our culture. Democrats don't want that. That's evil. I don't know how else to look at it. It's so evil that they feel that way. So that's priority number one by your Minnesota Democrats. It'll be an interesting fight to see it play off. And once again, it just undermines the whole argument. If it's already in the Constitution, then why they got to do it? And we obviously know the point is they believe that some justices down the road might change and restrict abortion. So they want to codify it in law. They call it codifying Roe v. Wade, which is kind of a goofy way to say it because Roe v. Wade was a Supreme Court decision, but basically codify abortion into Minnesota statute. Do we have McCarthy talking to Representative Ghost over there? What are we looking at? Pull up the big window.
John James needs to get out of the way. No, that's not Gosar. No.
Thought it was at first. All right, never mind. That's the other interesting thing is McCarthy just lets his henchmen do all the work. Why don't you go out there and chat with these people?
Yeah, you need to work like at conventions. You need to work the floor, get the delegates.
Yeah, that's why we know this. We're experts on this stuff. I mean, Congress is just a political convention. We've done a ton of political conventions. We know how this stuff works.
Well, supposedly McCarthy's already been screaming at these guys, so he's probably not going to be talking to them anymore.
Yeah, well, which is really interesting. This guy's a two-face because he always comes out smiling and look. I mean, I've never had such a negative opinion of McCarthy until this week.
Yeah, everything that's come out about him.
Yeah, because he always seems like a guy. I mean, he puts on a good face, and that's what most politicians are. They're two-faced. The thing I knew about McCarthy is the guy is just a Washington crony. Also, Tucker Carlson. Like, Tucker Carlson, though, one guy in the mainstream conservative media that seems to get it, like Fox News. I guess he's probably untouchable at Fox News, but he's like McCarthy. McCarthy, what did he call him? It's like a ideological chameleon or something like that. Basically, he's not a conservative, and who was living at Frank Luntz's house, at lobbyist's house.
Oh, I didn't hear
renting
about
an apartment.
that.
Yeah,
Oh.
apparently McCarthy was renting an apartment from Frank Luntz. All right, I want to cover one other thing here. I hope we don't lose coverage here. It's just a bunch of establishment guys trying to figure things out. There's this reaction to Damar Hamlin's injury is fascinating to me. We had a lot of things to discuss this week. I wish we could have discussed a lot of other things, but I mean, how do you not talk about this issue here playing out in real time? But have you noticed that the media is quick to say that this has nothing to do with the vaccine? It's so fascinating. I got one clip I want to play for you. This was a doctor who explained the injury. This happened the night of. I think it was an hour or so after it. And I think he's a cardiologist. No, he's sports medicine. So he's a doc of sports medicine, and he explains what he believes to be the injury. But what's fascinating is how he dismisses the vaccine. Let's go ahead and play this video.
What we just witnessed tonight is one of the most rare things we can see in sports medicine, as Damar Hamlin went down with what appeared to be cardiac arrest after taking this hit on the field. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and on this channel I try to teach you about the sports medicine world and give you some insight into what we see on the field. What we saw happen tonight is not related to any sort of vaccines. This is almost certainly something called commotio cordis, an extremely...
Okay, stop right there. And he goes back to this at the end. What? An hour after, and you just... Once again, this isn't science these guys are doing. When you just ignore the fact that this could be vaccine related, you're not pursuing science, you're pursuing propaganda. The saying that science can be questioned, propaganda can't be questioned. The fact that you say it's not vaccine related is not a scientific approach. Dr. Peter McCall, a cardiologist, renowned cardiologist, thinks that the vaccine could have made an impact here, could have been in play. He's not saying it is, because we don't know. That's not how science works. But the fact that they ignore it, and this is not just him, and I could have gone with all the clips by CNN and MSNBC, but they're using that. They're literally saying this is not vaccine related. It's like, you don't know that. That's a crazy thing to say.
Well, there's a doctor that came out and said, yeah, look, there are no health problems with these. This was the guy who administered his booster shot, supposedly. It was apparently pretty recently. I don't remember the guy's name.
He said that he did the booster shots?
Yeah, it was
Isn't
on
that
Twitter.
Doctor-patient privilege there?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he released it with their permission.
Because I wasn't certain he even got the vaccine. We didn't know that, which would be also, you can't call it a vaccine injury if you don't even know if the guy got the vaccine.
Yeah. I mean, we should just be careful in these instances because we don't want to politicize this too much.
100%, and I agree with you on that. 100%. So I'm not trying to speculate. Obviously, a lot of us look at that. We go, "Oh my God! Like, is this what we're seeing?" Because there's a lot of athletes dropping, and it seems like that. And I had read someone like they did CPR, try to resuscitate him again at the hospital, which seemed like it wouldn't be consistent with commotio, whatever that is. I don't know. And you're right. We shouldn't speculate. The point I'm trying to make is the media is doing that already.
They are the ones speculating.
They're the ones speculating.
Yep.
They are ignoring it. They don't want to admit that there are some real serious issues, hard issues. This is documented, by the way. We know that. There's studies that are being done that have showed the Pfizer jab, Moderna jab, the mRNA, has led to inflamed hearts. There was one study that showed that it's more dangerous for teenage boys to get the vaccine in terms of myocarditis than it is for them to get it naturally, to get natural infection. So the fact that the media is just ignoring this is a fascinating story. Also, what's fascinating is Fauci apparently Elon Musk is apparently going to launch something called the Fauci Files, which is a play on the Twitter files. And it's going to be dirt on Anthony Fauci. I don't know when this is coming out. Elon Musk, I'll tell you what, that guy loves to keep his suspense going. So it could be Friday night. That was when the Twitter files came out. I remember seeing that. It's like, usually when you dump things on a Friday night, that's because you don't want the news cycle.
Right.
And then I thought, wait a second, it's the Twitter files. The media's not going to cover this, so yeah, why not
Doesn't
release it
matter
on Friday
anyway,
night?
yeah.
Exactly. So we got to be getting close here to the vote. Let's go bring up the big screen. So what do you think, William? What do you think is going to happen when they give us the official vote? Are they going to recess again? Or, I'm sorry, adjourn?
I don't see them going for another vote. Although it didn't make sense to go for more votes these past few days either. So
Right. My thought, the strategy by the McCarthyist, this is McCarthyism. That's what we're seeing going on right now, McCarthyism. Looks like she's getting ready to speak. Here we go. I think they'll go for another vote, honestly, because I thought their strategy was, if we got Fox News on our side and some of these big conservative talking heads in radio and stuff, then we might as well wait this thing out. And then you got the Dan Crenshaws of the world who are like, well, we're only McCarthy votes, so we won't vote for anyone but McCarthy. But I don't know how many people that are willing to do that. That's what's beautiful about this play, is either McCarthy's got to concede all these things, which shows why he shouldn't have been the speaker in the first place, or the Republican conference is going to be forced to go find someone that works.
So what are they doing specifically? They're just tallying all the votes?
Yeah, I mean, it is a good question. There is a process to getting an official record on the U.S. House floor, which eventually goes into a journal.
Yeah.
So, they don't want to get wrong, but I do kind of find it funny that it does take this long. I don't know if there's just let's just put it this way. It's government.
What's our plan if they go for another vote?
Well, what do you guys think? Do you want us to continue coverage here? You gotta take off, don't you?
Yeah, I thought this was going to be an hour.
Are we an hour and a half already?
The last few days we've gone around 2 hours.
Yeah, all right. So we'll take off after this vote. I would encourage you guys to keep watching it, but we'll stay for this big announcement. Obviously, if there's another vote, it's not going to change, right? Let's just be honest. Nothing's going to change. So another vote is pretty much pointless. Now, there could be drama. Could be drama if they try to adjourn. See, this is probably part of the checklist I got to go through to have the official vote. Now, what's fascinating about this, William, they could, well, I guess they couldn't vote electronically. I was going to say they could vote electronically because they vote all the time, but that's yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no yay or nay.
Why would you suggest they do it remotely?
No, that they just do electronic votes and then you don't have to wait this long.
So you don't have to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, take a play out of the David Handbook. Let's just do it electronically.
Rather than a move to adjourn. Steve Scalise says, quote, we'll be going another round.
We're going to go another round. Why?
I think it's so funny. Are these people talking about anything meaningful? Or are they just all making chit-chat?
Listen, these guys love the fact this is history setting, so.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet they're going to go for the record amount of votes for Speaker of the House?
I don't doubt it. I could see it happening.
I can imagine that these guys would be very excited to see their names on history
The
like
tellers
that.
agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 433. of which the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212.
She's going to have to say, and Donald Trump has received 1 vote.
The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the
Would she
state
say
of
that, or would it be
California
She has
has
to, yeah.
received 201.
Oh, get ready for Trump to truth that out. Donald's receives 19, Trump 1, and 1 present. That's so funny.
The Honorable Byron Donalds of the state
Is
of
she gonna say
Florida
honorable?
has received 19.
Here you go, honorable.
The Honorable Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 1. With 1 recorded as present.
Were there people booing
No
in the
member
crowd?
elect having received the majority of the votes cast, a speaker has not been elected.
For what purpose is the...
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida rise?
Madam Clerk, I rise to nominate Kevin McCarthy
Ugh.
for Speaker of the House.
The gentleman is recognized.
They're going for another round.
All right, well, we're not going to go through another round because nothing's going to change here. This is stupid.
I'm curious to see if Gates votes for Trump again. Probably not.
I'm going to say Gates is going to go back to Donald's.
Probably.
I think at this point we've all heard about Kevin McCarthy in length. He is my friend, my colleague. I'm very proud to say that. I know our remarks are directed towards the clerk and the chair, but I don't mind saying I'm directing my marks to another part of our team. And make no mistake, we are a team. We are together. I would say this to some of my friends in Texas. I have the same fear, truly, that some of you have, that we squander this opportunity to right the wrongs that have gone on here for the last 2 and 4 years, and there are very real wrongs. I have that fear, just like you do. I'd say to my friend from Montana, I would say that I have the same fear you do, that America's given us this chance to change our course, and that we fail.
Now, this strategy of bringing guys like this out is not so much that he's going to whip votes and convince anyone on a speech,
I have
right?
the same fears that you do.
It's more to just make sure that this is a good soldier for the establishment.
we don't
That's what's going
recover
on here. So they're telling him, hey, I want you to give a
has been
speech.
shown
And if he says no,
the honor we have to
they're
serve
going to
here,
be
to the responsibility we
pretty
have to
vindictive
safeguard our
against that person.
Constitution and the freedoms
So
of
when you
Americans, I
hear
have
someone
that
like
fear
this standing up and
that it
giving a
can't be
speech,
recovered from.
it's a good soldier.
I would say to
Probably
my
why you
friend,
don't see Thomas
the
Massey giving a
general from
speech,
Pennsylvania,
right?
Do you think that
that
these
I have
people
the
come
same
with
fears that
speeches
he has.
prepared? Or is he making this up
that
on the
we
fly?
squander what
There's
our
some that
brothers
would
and
need
sisters
to,
in
and
arms
there's
have
some that are definitely
sacrificed.
good off the fly, and there's some that are
I stand
probably just getting the
differently
talking
because
points
of
from
sacrifice.
the handlers.
My
I'd
friend from Texas,
probably say
Mr. Crenshaw,
could
when
be
he
a-
looks
all
out
the
at the
above.
world,
I'm just
he
curious because
sees
it's
the
like,
world differently
do they have like
because of what he
a
sacrificed
list
Listen
of
to
the
this.
person?
Hold on,
Baird,
listen to this.
when he extends a hand,
Okay, I thought he was going to go on about Crenshaw.
He extends
Crenshaw
it
sees the world differently. Yeah, Crenshaw
because
called
of
them
what he
terrorists.
sacrificed for
What a joke.
during his service in Vietnam.
Okay, so what were you saying there?
I was
We
just
have
wondering
so
like
many in
if
this body
do they have like a list of
gave
people ready to go
so
up in
much,
case there are more
sacrificed so
votes?
much
Oh, I'm sure
to
they do.
support and defend
That's-
the Constitution
I mean,
of
these
the
guys
United
can't be
States, United
idiots here. They had to have known
I
that
fear
this was
we
going
don't
to...
live up to what some
Well, I'm
of our
sure they
friends and
whip
brothers and
people
sisters
to
in
do
arms
speeches like in between
have very
votes as well,
literally
or
given
during
their lives
votes.
for. And I don't mind saying that on occasion that
Yeah, sorry, I
absolutely brings a tear
voted
to my
present. I was out practicing my next
Because it
nomination
does.
speech.
Oh, man. All right. I think what we'll do is we'll cut off this when they give this speech for Donald's, just in case they pull some maneuver here. I mean, there is another thing. They put up Donald Trump, but
It's not for that. My friend from Texas, my colleague, Mr. Roy, he and I, we've stood on this
I just
floor
can't stand
together
these. My friend.
arguing
How friendly are you
on the
guys?
same team about life and death issues for the United States of America.
Did they have to
With
say
so few
honorable
people in here
when they go
that you can
the honor? Because I was shocked that they said the honorable
That's sad.
Donald
That's
Trump.
not living
I
up
thought
to
that's
our friends.
I thought that. I mean, maybe because he's a past president, or is it
sat
just
in
because he's
classified
been nominated?
briefings
It's honorable.
I
with
thought
the
that that
general
was like reserved towards
Pennsylvania,
justices.
minimally
It's definitely
attended
justices, but they
on both sides
they use it a lot in D.C.
with issues
Um,
that
Well, any
actually
elected
matter
official is technically
to the
honorable.
safeguarding of every
Most
person
likely not, but
within
Oh,
our
yes.
borders
Well,
in
and our
title-wise.
service
Citizens
abroad.
Council for Health Freedom has asked 2 years in a row for us
We
to
can do
sign
better
onto a
than that.
document, a pro-health
will.
freedom document, which I agreed
But I
with
would
it.
say to my friends,
I don't believe sending a document to
issues
leadership's
that we
going to do
deal with
anything
like
anyhow,
that you've spoken
even if it's
passionately
well worded.
about,
But I
I've
refuse
heard
to
your
sign it
speeches,
because
I've
it
sat
says
and
the
listened to
Honorable
them.
Nancy Pelosi on it.
They
I'm
can't
not
be
going to sign
fixed
anything that calls her
by our
honorable.
friend Andy.
Yeah, I'm so sick of
And
some of
they
these
can't be
traditions.
fixed by our friend
I
Kim
love
or
traditions
our
that make
friend Jim
sense,
or our friend Biden.
but
That comes from
it's like
inside
the
each
oath
and
of
every one
office.
us.
That's a tradition.
To change
What a
what
great
we
thing, the oath of office. But
prioritize,
what's the point in the oath of office if they
to
don't
change
actually
how we
live by it?
choose, to
You're
spend
pledging
our time,
support for the Constitution. You
giving
shit on the
us
Constitution all the
opportunity
time.
to honor,
So what does an
to
oath
serve in
mean,
this place.
right? An
Right.
oath should mean something. Otherwise, why
Friend
say
Mr.
it?
Roy has been very proud of the number of individuals that are in here.
We had a video. I don't know if you saw it
saying that
yesterday.
this is how the
Katie
process
Hobbs
should play
giving
out,
her
and I
oath of
totally
office and
agree
laughs
with
at the Constitution
on
part.
that, but we don't
Did she really?
control
She broke down, started
whether
laughing. She couldn't even
individuals
carry
in here
on.
are sitting
Wow.
on their cell phones, scrolling
she's being
through
honest.
whatever social media, or whether they're actually paying attention to the issues.
Eighth ballot coming up.
The speaker
We're not.
can't
We're gonna
change
break
that.
off
It's up to the
coverage here because,
individual.
quite frankly, it just
something
takes an
that
hour and a
we have
half
to
to go
look at
through
each other
a round of voting,
sharpen each
and
other and make
nothing's
each
gonna
other
change. I'll
better.
just tell you right now, nothing's gonna change. The only thing that's gonna happen is more momentum for the conservatives. That guy to the right, his handler, just God,
When we
what a-
started this process
must be just livid right now.
months ago, behind closed doors, as leadership for the minority was being chosen behind closed doors, leadership for the majority was being talked about and debated and chosen
I
behind
wish
closed doors.
I enjoyed
I
hearing
said
my
to
own
friend,
voice
Mr.
this much.
McCarthy, I said, please don't.
Now
look
here's
at
the
us
question: does Congress
and
break
see
for the
me as your
weekend?
friend, or all of us as your friends.
There's nothing that says
Probably.
they
Look at us
have
and
to.
see us as your
I don't know. I
colleagues.
think they go through the weekend.
Don't look at us
So remember,
and see us as individuals
the
that are votes for Speaker of the House. Look at us as individuals.
well, that's
are
the
looking
okay.
out
That's
for
the
our
other interesting
communities,
dynamics that will happen
our
here.
neighborhoods,
They're going to have to
our
adjourn to a
friends, our
certain time.
neighbors in our
So if
country,
they adjourn
telling
till
them
Saturday
we
morning
vouch for you,
or Friday night,
because that is
they
what we are
probably
doing.
won't get the votes from the
We are
Democrats, and they
vouching for you,
probably
and I
won't get
couldn't
the
be more
votes
proud to stand
from
here
the
today
20
and vouch
conservatives.
for you, my friend.
That's the beauty of this thing is the 20 conservatives really are finally calling the shots. This is how you can be successful, as a small group of people in a democratic process.
That Kevin will do as he was promised. He will give us the opportunity to write the course. He will give us the opportunity to vote. He won't control how every individual votes.
A little side
But
note
he will
here.
give us
So a
the
lot of people are so
opportunity
upset that
to make
business
sure that we
isn't
have
being done in
smart
the U.S.
energy
Congress right
policy
now because,
between
as
the
we
Atlantic
learned
and the
this
Pacific.
week,
that makes sense for Americans.
the Congress
make
can't do
sure
anything until
that
they
he
elect the
protects
speaker.
our border,
So we're pro no
protects
speaker
Americans,
because
to
they'll
make
save
sure
us
that
trillions of
we
dollars.
don't
But
spend
did
what
you
we
know at the
don't have
founding
on
of
a
this
credit
country,
card, that
they
we
didn't
don't
even
spend
know
wastefully?
that
I'm vouching
they had to
for my
tell them
friend
to
that
show
he will
up.
give us that
Do you know what
opportunity to make sure that we don't
Article
have
1,
endless
Section
terms here in
4,
the House of Representatives? I
Clause
vouch that he
2
will
of the
deliver
U.S.
that
Constitution
opportunity
says,
to
pull that
us.
up, Dawson.
I'm proud to stand before
You've
my
got to
country
see
and
this.
say that
It's
Kevin
a
McCarthy is different.
it's my favorite
He
part of
is
the U.S.
different.
Constitution
That
by
is
far.
why, for those that I was
Just pull up the
speaking to
U.S.
earlier, the
Constitution,
process
Article
is
1, which
where
is
it
the
is
Congress or the legislative
He's
branch.
different. He's not.
And
he's
then
not
you go
Paul
to
Ryan. He's
Section
not gonna tell you
4.
about, you'll get a term limits bill and then
There's
you
two
won't.
clauses, 1 and 2. You're going to look at Clause 2.
He's not Mitch McConnell.
So just
He
this is
fought
the
against the
this is the
$1.7
greatest
trillion
lens into how
wasteful spending
the
package that
framers
was
of
sent
our
to us on New
Constitution
Year's
looked at
Eve
government.
That's
So mind
not
you, there are
him.
people mad right
He's
now.
different. He's not
I'm
John
gonna need
Boehner.
your.
Article
He
1,
didn't throw you all
go
that
down to
disagreed with
Section
him
4,
out on your cans and say, I
and
don't
it'll
want to
be
hear
the
from
second
you. I don't
paragraph
want to
there.
listen to you.
says the
He
Congress
welcomes
shall.
everybody in because he's
Can you
Yep.
load up a little bit for me.
And if we give him
Congress shall
a chance to be
assemble
our speaker,
at least once in
we will
every
all be
year,
different.
and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December.
I stand before you today and say, at the direction
They had to tell him to show up.
conference, I advance the name of
We're all mad because This is day 3 of the speaker vote. They didn't even know if these guys would show up. There's actually, a lot of people don't know this, there are a lot of states that have a legislature that meets every other year. South Dakota is a great example. South Dakota, just to our west, only meets once a year. Texas meets once a year. You know? California meets year-round every year, right? Minnesota, at least they break after May.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Massachusetts?
Oh, they finally got someone different speaking.
Nominate Hakeem Jeffries
Hakeem.
as Speaker of the House.
It's so interesting that they had the same speaker every time.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
212, 212, 212, 212,
No, this is annoying.
212, and today 212.
That's not the majority. Why is she saying
She's talking about we're unified.
At some point, you gotta be like, we're not winning, let's change something.
Well, they have no strategy here. The only thing the Democrats have up their sleeve is having members not show up so that McCarthy becomes a speaker. That's all they got. And they're going to get some concession from McCarthy. Unless they perceive whoever they go. Okay, so if Donald Trump starts gaining momentum, they might pull that maneuver. Oh, guys, don't show up. We cannot allow Donald Trump to be the Speaker of the House.
It will imperil the
Can you imagine
ability
Donald
of
Trump
this
as a
government
Speaker of the House?
to deliver basic
I can't.
services.
Because
It is
honestly,
That'd be too crazy.
my thought, my
and our
where I think this is going to go
to serve
is
our
there's going to be some concessions by McCarthy and he becomes a
But
speaker,
it is also
right? Or they find another guy who's willing to give those concessions. That's
Right.
probably the better option.
I
is
think
some-
it's Steve Scalise.
but he's whoever it's going to be. They're going to have to give some concessions. They're going to have to change some rules and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So that's where I see this thing going. But and so basically what I'm saying is I don't think you're going to have this really good principled guy as Speaker of the House, and I don't know if there is that person out there. So it's like, why not have Donald Trump? The entertainment value alone would be fantastic.
They said no. When we lowered healthcare
Like,
costs and
I look at
premiums
politics,
for
it's so
working
damn
families,
boring,
they said
and these
no.
guys are
When we
ruining our
defended
country.
the civil
We might as well
rights
get
of
something from it,
LGBTQ+
right?
Americans,
And if
they
you go
said
wild card,
when we
wild card
protected
might actually help you out.
lives,
Might actually be enough where it changes the
gun
dynamics of the
especially
Capitol.
in the wake of the horrors of Buffalo and Uvalde. They said no. When we stood up for women and reproductive freedom, they said no. When we brought
Love how they call reproductive
manufacturing
freedom, right?
back to America,
They really
they said
test
no.
out their
When
words
we
and their
answered
phrases.
the urgent
We don't want to call it
call
abortion.
to
Abortion's got that
protect our
bad stigma.
planet
Reproductive
and
freedom.
invest in clean
And what's
energy
reproductive freedom?
and
Well, it's
create
abortion.
Tens of millions of good-paying jobs, they said no. When we said women deserve equal pay for equal work, they said no. When we said that childcare and paid family leave should be available to every worker in this country, to every family, they said no. When we secured the fundamental right to vote for every single American, they said no. When we stood by our veterans and expanded their access to health care, they said no. When we defended our democracy 2 years ago tomorrow.
She sounds like
from a
teachers I've had
tyrannical
before.
president following the January
I think everyone's had a
6th
teacher like her.
insurrection,
Kind of lectury.
They said no.
And we've all probably had a teacher that
House Democrats
votes the same way as
will
her.
stand together.
And
Who
the
else
way
probably
that,
looked like her?
the way that the crowd is like chiming in with her on the "we said
It
no" or
is
whatever. It's,
our job and our responsibility to elect a speaker.
So it'll
who
be
stands
interesting
with
to
them,
see who they
and with
put up
great pride,
this time to
I
give a
nominate
speech,
Hakeem
and if there's going to be
Jeffries.
any other person nominated, and then we'll break from coverage after that. Yeah, I can't believe we went 2 hours. That flew by the way.
Yeah. I hate to do this. I gotta stand up. and
You
go
got to
with
you got to stand up.
My ride is leaving.
Oh, you got to get going. All right.
I wish I could.
Nope.
Of course,
Fair
I'm gonna
enough.
miss something very important. When I
Fair
say
enough,
sorry.
William. We did say an hour. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to hold on until this speech is done, then we're going to break from it.
I rise to place into nomination the name of my friend from Florida, Byron Donalds.
Okay, so let's stay with Byron Donalds. So I guess the big question is,
I appreciate that. You know,
will they actually also go with a Donald Trump nomination?
and what did that election tell us?
Do you think that would accomplish anything?
Well, when there
No.
were 5 million more Republicans who
I'll turn
cast
it up.
their ballots, it told us that the American public wanted a change. They wanted a change from the policies of the left that has taken over the Democrat Party. It said they wanted a change from this administration that has inflicted so much pain economically. We've seen crime explode. We've got an administration that won't even acknowledge that there's a crisis on the border. Tell you to go on down to the border. I've invited this administration to come with me to the border. Let's see it firsthand. The American public said they want to change. They want something new. They want something different. And we are on a path that just continues. Where were we just 12 years ago? An $11 trillion national debt. You know where we are today? Almost 3 times that. Both parties share blame in that. We have to bring that under control. You bring that under control not just by changing the rules of an institution, but by changing the leadership. And I'm told this process is painful. It's embarrassing, I'm told. You know what it is? It's not dysfunction, and it's not imperiling. What it is the exchange of ideas, an expression of support for people you want to be your leader in the next Congress. I think it's incredibly healthy, actually, for the American people to see that we're on the floor, something that my colleagues across the aisle so rarely like to be. They enjoy the proxy voting, I guess. They've sat there, I'll give it to you. They've laughed and they've chuckled and they've pointed fingers at us and said, oh, see here. But you know what? As my friend from Florida just said, we're together. We're having an internal fight. It's being displayed. I wish it wasn't necessarily being displayed, but the American people could see it. But I can tell you this. When this is over and done with, I know which side of the aisle is going to be laughing. And it's going to be the side that is unified in taking on the issues that Americans care about. The issues that this side has not only ignored, but has put upon the American people. We used to be energy independent. Seems so long ago. It's 2 years ago, actually.
That's crazy, isn't it?
We're going to restore America to energy independence.
Especially with the new fission.
Yeah, I know, right? That'd be
I'm
crazy.
pumped.
You know how you reduce inflation? You stop devaluing your currency. You stop blowing out the waters by spending $1.7 trillion on an omnibus bill that has how many thousands of earmarks in it? You start taking on crime. You start fighting violence. You start fighting the overgrowth of our budget and restore our economy. You start incentivizing jobs. You recognize that the American middle class is
Dustin, do me
being
a favor.
squeezed.
Go to
and
usdebtclock.org
those who
real
are
quick.
with more difficult economic circumstances are being squeezed by an economy that has this inflation.
Bring that up on the big screen.
Attacks energy. You bring your border back under control, and this side is going to bring that border security under control.
Put it on the big screen.
We recognize it's a crisis. It's a crisis when in 2020...
Give me the floor on the
Yuma
bottom.
sector
This is what it's
had
about. See that?
9,000
U.S. national
encounters.
debt,
Not for a 5-day
$31
period,
trillion.
but for an entire fiscal year.
What does that mean for
Under this administration, with these
taxpayer?
policies,
What does that mean
that
for
9,000
a
encounters
family?
is about a 5-day
That is
period
real
in the
money
Yuma
right
sector
there.
today.
That is real money that you
don't know
are
what
on the
it's
hook
like
for. If
unless
you're
you
a
see that happen.
citizen, and not every citizen pays money, but it's your kid, $94,000. You got a kid that's born today, $94,000 on top of them. If you are a taxpayer like myself, I am indebted $250,000. That doesn't even seem possible. That's what $31.4 trillion is. And that's how are we going to fix that? How are we going to fix that? If we just go with the status quo, how are we going to fix that? Go bring the House floor back up. McCarthy's finally doing some work there.
Is the example and the mentor for millions who need hope. Here is a man that has worked his way up. He is not a novice. He has the experience. He has the chops to be the speaker. He is a man. He has a lovely family, and they are politically engaged. They know what's going on. He has worked in Florida politics. He's worked in the legislature. He has respect. He has the quiet confidence that a leader needs. I look around this body today, and I know it's hard for you to believe. I know it's hard for me to believe sometimes when I'm here and I have the great honor and privilege of serving with you. But you represent the cross-section of America, the great American experiment. The experience that you
McCarthy's
bring,
making
the
some deal
knowledge
there.
that you bring is unique. The road to recovery is through this body. I believe if you want to make change, you have to make change. Maintaining status quo is not an option today. I believe we've reached an existential crisis in this country. I look across and I see the left has captured virtually every institution. It is time that we reassert ourselves and put America back on the road to recovery. And the person who I think is most capable and will do the most credible job to lead us back that way is my friend from Florida, the Honorable Byron Donalds, whom I am pleased and proud to nominate as the next Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The reading clerk will call the roll.
All right, so we're going to end here, and you can go to C-SPAN to watch the rest. I don't see any reason anything's going to change on this vote, and so eventually they'll do this vote. They'll probably do another vote. Nothing's going to change unless McCarthy, if he's making deals on the fly, it's not going to be embedded in this vote, most likely. So essentially, you're probably not going to see a Speaker of the House today. They're going to have to adjourn. The adjournment's going to be a story. If they adjourn till the night, they'll probably pass. If they adjourn till tomorrow morning, might pass. If they adjourn beyond that, or if they adjourn till tomorrow and they come back and they want to adjourn till Saturday, it might not pass. We might go until next week. And that's okay. Because mind you, when Congress isn't meeting, we're saving lots of money and we're protecting liberty. So, and that means the Biden agenda can't happen, right? Because that's the other thing that's at stake, is even if the Republicans in control of Congress, they'll probably usher in some of the Biden agenda, right? Senate's controlled by Democrats. Anyhow, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's, this Truth Hurts. I don't know if we're going to be back tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. We'll play it by ear. 3 days in a row, that was new for us. And I don't know how we would have sat on the sidelines in this interesting story. There's plenty to talk about in the Minnesota legislature as well. We'll get into all that in the next time we do the Truth Hurts. Thank you very much for tuning in. I want you to go to our Twitter. It's going to be down here. It's action_liberty, and follow us on Twitter. So we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for tuning in.